What is up, everybody? Welcome to another special episode of the Creative Differences podcast. My name is Dallas, and I am an outspoken believer in the subjectivity of art.
All right, coming in hot, and I love it.
I love it, right?
Hi, my name's Gabby, and I didn't know that we were going to do something like that today.
My name's Demi, and I'm also completely caught off guard, but all right then.
You don't have to. It's fine.
And I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
That's a choice.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's famous.
Coming in hot, like that bomb.
Hey,
Demi, tell the people what we're doing.
Oh.
All right, guys, welcome to the first day of Creative Differences, a year in review. Today we will be talking about our top 10 favorite movies of 2019, and this is going to be day one of a 5-day event. Welcome. Join us. It's going to be a marathon. Let's do it. So, rules of the game, though. We're going to go through our top 10 in order. If you have something on somebody else's list, you will call skip, and we will keep skipping it until we get to the highest point that movie is on somebody else's list.
Yes, for example, this won't happen, but let's say I had Parasite at number 10 and Colin had it at number 1. He would say skip because we'll talk about it later when we get to number 1. It won't happen.
See,
he didn't like that movie.
That particular event will
Yeah,
not
but
happen.
Well,
feel
don't
like
spoil things, Dallas.
other
Jeez.
things will happen.
I mean, they heard the review.
Other ones.
So let's get this started. Honorary mentions first, Dallas.
Cool. My honorable mentions are Terminator, Dark Fate, Spies in Disguise, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Frozen 2, and Jumanji, The Next Level.
Yo, I totally forgot Godzilla came out this year.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh, it's been a long year.
Until you said it, I was like, oh, wait.
It's been quite a year.
Well, not
It's
this
been
year,
s-
but last year.
It's been so
last year
long.
was quite a year.
It's been so long. Colin.
I
you
don't do honorable mentions.
You
Yeah.
heard about that.
You'll learn about that, guys. Colin doesn't do honorable mentions. Gabby.
Colin doesn't
Cool.
believe in honor.
That's
Dallas.
well. Now that you say it,
See?
I guess not really.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
It's a
gosh.
weird
Okay,
thing to-
sorry.
Anyway.
I laughed right into the mic.
Gabby.
I cackled right
You
into
do
the
that.
mic.
No, you do that. That's fine. Cackling is fine. What's
but
your
maybe
list?
not right into the mic. My honorable
Hey,
mention list is Jojo Rabbit,
Gabby
Last
cackles,
Christmas,
right?
and Charlie's Angels.
You know who else cackles?
Colin.
Witches. I'm sorry.
It's
I
'cause
need
I
to
am
make a
one.
joke.
Gabby, repeat it again.
Jojo Rabbit, Last Christmas, and Charlie's Angels.
Dub. And my honorary mentions list consists of Terminator Dark Fate, Last Christmas, Hobbs and Shaw, Captain Marvel, and Zombieland 2.
Captain Marvel was this year.
Last year.
I forgot
mean,
about
last
Captain
year.
Marvel.
Sorry.
Captain
Such a
Marvel
long
was
year.
last year. It's a long
I
year.
completely forgot about
Oh
that
my
movie.
God.
It's been a long year, guys. It's been a long year.
It's been such
So,
a long year.
let's get into it. Number 10, Dallas.
All right. I'm going to keep this one short because y'all didn't like it and I don't like negativity. Number 10 is Joker.
Listen, bro.
Yeah,
Listen.
No.
Hush, Gabby.
You like it.
Yeah.
And like,
Here we are.
yo,
Cool.
it's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it is objectively a good movie.
It's a good movie.
I don't believe in that.
It
But
just
here's the
doesn't
thing.
yeah.
deserve-
Joker has one of the best performances I've seen in a very long time. One of the best scores I've seen in a very long time. Shout out to Hildur Guðnadóttir because she went off with that score. You guys know me. I love comic book movies, and I love when they do something different with it because as much as I do love my Marvel movies, I forgot Captain Marvel came out because they didn't do a lot different with that to me. So it's like when a movie comes out and it's kind of just like right in that formula that we usually get, then I'm just like, oh, superheroes. But let's do something a little different. This one did, and it wasn't on my list until about 20 minutes ago. It was part of the honorable mentions list, but I moved it up because I saw it twice in theaters, despite the fact that I walked out feeling very unhappy. And normally, if a movie's good, but like I don't really have a good time watching it, I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna watch that again.
Yeah,
it was good, but I'll leave it alone.
Joker left me feeling very uncomfortable, and I
Yeah.
literally jumped at one point in the movie because somebody walked past me.
Yeah, I feel like I just watched an episode of Black Mirror,
Yeah.
and I don't rewatch a lot of Black Mirror.
Nope.
I don't either.
Yeah, see, you get it. But yeah, I was like, this is good. I watched it twice. I can't believe I did that.
I can't believe you did it
I'm
either.
so unhappy.
Right?
But it's a dope movie.
To be fair, I've seen that movie about 35 times.
Yeah, but that wasn't
So-
by choice.
Yeah, that was
It was.
by trade.
You weren't like, oh, let
Yeah,
me
it
get
was-
35 tickets and go see this movie.
Yeah.
Then I would say we need to talk about some things.
Yeah, are
Oh,
you
yeah. No.
okay?
Did I tell
Like-
you guys what happened when I told a woman that?
What?
So a woman came up and she was like, she had just seen Joker, and she was like, oh my gosh, that movie was just so dark and disturbing, and like it was like an older woman. She's like in
Yeah.
middle ages or whatever.
I mean, yeah, it
And-
was.
Like, I was like, yeah, and she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how people have seen it like multiple times. I was like, yeah, I've seen it about 33 times at this point, and she looked at me like something was wrong.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because she didn't know you worked the projector.
Yeah, and well, I mean, she knew I was on the job, but
Yeah.
like, and so Marcellus was like, "She's our projectionist. she has to watch it." Yeah, so it was a thing. She was like, something is wrong.
She was
Yeah.
gonna like back away slowly.
Oh, she had already kind of started backing away just slightly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've seen that movie far
Way
too
too
often.
many
Although I don't know if
times.
it counts if you stop paying attention.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I don't think I count all 33 or 35 or whatever number you got.
It's somewhere around there. I lost track
It's
after
too
a
many
while.
to me.
Yeah.
Too many. Colin, number 10.
Okay. This is why I have notes, because I forget everything. My number 10 is The Farewell.
Oh,
Nice.
skip. But
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Great
okay.
movie.
We're skipping it.
Cool. Gabby, number 10.
My number 10 is Shazam.
Skip.
Skip.
Okay, great.
All right, my number 10 is Charlie's Angels, and I know I'm not getting skipped on that one. I just loved Charlie's Angels. I had a lot of fun in the theater, and that's really why it's on the list. I had so much fun.
We all had a bunch of fun watching that one.
It was just me and you.
Was it? I thought
No,
we
we
had
all.
somebody else.
The guy, oh, your cousin came with us, I think.
Yeah, and he was highly critical, but that's how he is.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I love all of the actresses in this movie. This movie made me a fan of Ella Balinska. I thought the movie was just a fun spy movie. It didn't need to be much more than that for me to enjoy it. And I don't think I really have much more to say about that, except that I'm really sad that it underperformed, because it means I'm never going to get a sequel, which means I'm never going to get another press tour of Kristen Stewart and Naomi Scott and Ella Balinska just loving each other.
It was great.
Because that's the type of wholesome content I need in this world. But yeah, I would recommend you guys watch it if you guys just want to watch a fun spy movie.
Yeah, because that was definitely one of those.
It was. Dallas, number 9.
Number 9 is, I'm sure I'm getting skipped, Knives Out.
Skip.
Skip.
Yep.
Colin, number 9.
My number 9 is Frozen 2.
Skip.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know if that was going to happen.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
know
why I
that.
waited.
Gabby,
My number 9 is How to Train Your Dragon 3.
that's all you.
Yay. Okay.
That used to be
So-
on my list.
Mine
It's-
too.
It was for a
So
very
good.
long time.
This movie's on my list because it made me cry.
It's a really great
And
movie.
It's so good. This whole trilogy is so strong, and I just it's one of those things that these movies don't come out very often, and there's not like a huge following to them. But when they're out and you see them, you're like, yeah, this is a quality movie. It's a
kinda-
quality trilogy. The first one is like one of my favorite movies ever. So
Kind of like the most recent Planet of the Apes series.
yeah, a little bit. Those are good movies too. But I really enjoyed
nobody
these,
talks about it.
and like I like how they spanned like 10 years, and the characters actually grew up, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, the character development in these films is so good.
Yeah, and like they physically grew up and changed, like which is really rare for an animated movie, which I appreciated. So, How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Yeah, it was super high on my list for a long time. Like, it was at number 3 for
Ooh.
maybe
Wow.
half the year.
And then,
Wow.
but then this time of year is when all the quote unquote good movies.
Yeah, that's
come
when all
out.
the when the summer movies come. That's when I know that like stuff's about to get dropped off. Like, it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah, especially in like November, December. That's when they really
Yeah.
pack in the good stuff.
I mean, if you're an Oscar movie fan,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that
no,
movie-
not just that. Like a lot of the family movies that come out, a lot of the action, not action,
not as
but,
many
like,
as in
more
the
family.
summer though,
I guess I don't
because
know.
the summer is your blockbuster season.
Yeah. But
And
then, December you get the movies like Jumanji and you get the Knives Out in November. So it's like you get,
And you got
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you
You
got,
got
like
two seasons.
Star
Well, Knives Out was a surprise for most people,
true.
Not
which we'll
for
discuss
me.
later.
Let's keep going.
I'm gonna get skipped. My number 9 is Avengers Endgame.
Skip.
Number 8, Dallas.
Number 8. My number 8 is Dr. Sleep.
Ooh.
Oh, that's all you.
Surprised me 'cause I didn't expect that to be on my list. It was just way more fun than I expected. The cast is great. Ewan McGregor, always great. Kylie Curran surprised me. She's the young girl.
Young girl,
And
yeah.
she was one of my favorite things about movies this year. She was just amazing. I think it's been long enough that I can... Okay, I don't want to spoil things. But did we talk about Jacob Tremblay being in that movie?
We did off mic
Got it. Yeah. So he's in that movie. And
Why is that a surprise?
because nobody knew he was. I don't think most people knew he was in that
No,
movie.
he
He went to the
wasn't. He just
premiere,
showed
but
up.
I didn't know that he was in it.
Just walking down this like dirt road. And I was like, is that Jacob Tremblay? What's he doing here? And
My favorite child actor. So good.
yeah, I'm just gonna spoil this. Sorry, guys. So there's a scene where he gets brutally murdered.
Oh
No, not my baby.
Yeah, and it was so rough. Rebecca Ferguson broke character and
Oh,
started
that's
crying.
who that's
Yes.
who was.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what that scene. The scene
Yeah,
that
I
broke
would
the
her?
scene
too if
where
it was
they had
Jacob
to
Tremblay.
kill him. And they were like, "Hey, you have a kid. Is this gonna be okay for you?" She was like, "I'm an actress. It's gonna be fine."
And then she had to be escorted off the set.
And then they started in like Jacob Tremblay. His acting was so good
Because Jacob Tremblay is amazing.
She stopped and just started weeping because
no.
he's too good.
Is she the one that was doing the killing?
It was a lot.
No,
But
because
yes, is the short answer.
you told that story when you viewed the
Right,
movie,
but
but
I
you
didn't
didn't
get
say who the
specific.
kid was. You just said
Yeah.
a kid dies on screen.
It was rough.
No, yeah, if it was Jacob Tremblay, I too would break
Everyone
character.
would have freaking died. But
And
not
it's
just
like-
'cause of him, because a kid, man.
That's honestly my least favorite thing about the movie because that scene was way too brutal. But it just goes to like the quality of the movie that like this kid is acting to the point of
Making
breaking down his
Jacob
co-star.
Tremblay is that kid, bro.
He's
Good
that dude.
Boys was on my honorary list for a while
He's
I
great.
forgot that was out this year.
last year.
It was a long
Last
year.
year, sorry.
But yeah, it's a great movie. It's way more fun than I expected. Murder aside. And,
Murder aside.
Hashtag Black Girl Magic. Moving
Literally.
I do love
on. Mm-hmm.
that literal type of magic. Colin, number 8.
My number 8 is Shazam.
Skip.
Cool.
Gabby.
My number 8 is Always Be My Maybe.
Oh, I loved that movie.
So good. So first of all, it was a delightful surprise. I didn't really know it was coming out, and then there was advertisements for it everywhere. Second of all, it had one of the greatest cameos I've ever seen in my entire life.
Keanu Reeves.
And third, it was just like really, really sweet and really funny. And I like Ali Wong. I really like Randall Park.
Yes, Randall Park.
And I've liked Randall Park since there was these YouTubers, or they still exist, I think, Wong Fu Productions, I think is what they're called. And Randall Park used to be like one of the actors on that before he like hit it big. So I used to like watch him on that, and then I started seeing him like on TV, and it was like, oh my god, he made it.
He was apparently on Wild 'N Out for a while there, and
He
I
was.
don't remember that.
That's
at
where
all.
I first saw him.
I've been trying to
Wow.
find clips of him on Wild 'N Out because I really want to see him on Wild 'N
Yeah, me
Out.
too. He
But
probably
yeah.
like deadpanned really well.
Yeah, I'm a
But-
fan of Ali Wong, and I don't think I'd ever seen. I had seen her stand up before this movie,
Oh yeah, I had to.
but
That's mostly why.
I had never seen her act, and also excited because she's in Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
But I had never seen Randall Park in anything. I think at that point,
I have.
Wasn't
Because
he
like I said, I've been
in
following. his
Ant-Man
career.
and
Oh, I'm
the
sorry,
Wasp?
you're right.
Yeah,
he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I was irritated with his character in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ah.
Loved him.
He
So
was great in that. He's great in everything.
Oh,
Like-
Jimmy, you haven't seen Fresh Off the Boat?
no, I've never watched Fresh Off the
Oh,
Boat,
that's
which is
great.
why
Great.
Constance Wu. The only things I know Constance Wu from are movies.
Oh,
Makes
okay.
sense. She's great in that show too. That show's
She's like
surprisingly good.
scary mom. Anyway, so that movie was a delightful surprise. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, and I did. I watched it like twice or 3 times, and one of the greatest cameos ever. I love. Always Be My Maybe.
I've only seen the Keanu Reeves scenes
And they're amazing.
and the end credits with the song where he's rapping about
Punching
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
And it's just I love Randall Park so much.
he's such a good rapper too.
Right.
Yes.
Because when he's in that cipher that happened
Mm-hmm.
outside the movie, in
Yeah.
real life, with Wayne Brady,
And Dibby
Raphael
Diggs.
Gasol, David Diggs, and
Yeah.
Utkarsh.
Dude, that's a great cipher.
Utkarsh is going before him, and his last line is "Pass it off to the dude who punched Johnny Mnemonic."
Yeah.
And then Randall comes in, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I love this."
All right. So my number 8 is Littlewoods, which is not on anybody else's list because nobody else saw it.
I remember you talking about it.
Because I had to drive all the way out to LA to go see that movie in a theater that only had 2 theaters, I think.
There was 3 people.
There
in the
might have
theater.
only been 1. It was, and one of those 3 was me.
I was gonna say, and 2 of those 3 was Domino.
2 of those 3 were me and a friend. Like, yeah. That's just a really good movie. That is not a good good time, feelsy
Feel
type of
good?
thing.
Is that the
it's not
phrase
a
you're
feel
looking
good.
for?
Yeah, it's not a feel good movie at all. For those who don't know what Littlewoods is about, it stars Tessa Thompson and Lily James as sisters. Tessa Thompson's character is on probation, is about to get off probation, and her sister are about to lose their mother's house. And her sister has just recently gotten pregnant and needs to figure out what she wants to do with this child, which means that they need money of some sort.
Yeah.
So she decides to go back to dealing prescription drugs around her small town. And that could get her into a lot of trouble.
It's
And-
on Hulu. No.
Is it on Hulu now?
It's on Hulu.
Dope. I own a digital copy of it because I loved it so much. It's a fantastic film. It was very topical, especially at the time that it came out, because shortly after it released in limited theaters, there was suddenly the thing around the country where certain states were trying to outlaw abortion, which is a big topic of conversation in this movie because Lily James's character is trying to decide whether or not she wants to have this child or if she wants to abort it because she already has a child with the man that she got pregnant with again, and he's a deadbeat dad. But yeah, it's just an hour and a half of like tense contemporary Western type of vibes with drug dealing involved. But like moral drug dealing, because these are people who don't have like addictions. They like legitimately need they need the prescription. Yeah, this movie is all about like the healthcare system as well. So like, yeah, it's a really good movie. It's very topical, especially in America. I would highly recommend it if you are down to watch a drama of that like sort of vibe.
It seems like desperation. Everybody's desperate.
Yeah, Nia DaCosta is the director, and I think this is her feature film debut, and it's just incredible. It's a great film, so I would highly recommend it. But yeah, it's number 8 on my list, and I loved it. It stayed on my list ever since I saw it.
Nice.
Because I was like, I have to talk about this movie. Like, I have to talk about this movie.
No one else saw it. No.
Yeah, nobody else saw it. It is on digital, and apparently it's on Hulu. So you guys should check it out so that more people can see it. It's just so great. The performances are phenomenal. The writing is great. The cinematography, all that. It's so good. All right, Dallas, number 7.
This one I'm surprised wasn't on my most anticipated list for last year. I guess I just forgot. I don't know. John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum.
It's
Oh
funny.
my
about
It's
that.
funny because most of the movies that I've mentioned so far have been on my honorary list, but not on the actual list itself. So I'm not mentioning it.
Yo, this movie, I'm upset because we weren't doing this podcast when the movie came out.
That was a good movie.
Oh my God, it's so good. And it's just like people say there are no good video game movies.
John Wick is
John
a
Wick
video
is
game
100%
movie.
a video game movie. Like,
It's just not based on a video game.
exactly. Like, it is the most video game thing I have seen in a long time. And the action is ridiculous. Like, that's what everyone says. But this man, he kills someone with a book.
He kills somebody with a pencil.
He kills
Okay, yeah, but like that
several
was
people
like
with horses.
Oh, yeah.
He uses the horses as weapons. Like, come on, bro.
But he's still very nice to the horses.
Yeah, but horses are terrifying, so that tracks.
yeah.
But the
Does he run
But I've
over
never seen
them?
them use as what?
Does he run over them
No.
with the horses?
No,
He
he's not
uses
even
their
on the
hind
horses.
legs as weapons, but he also gets on the
there
horse.
You go.
Yeah.
And there's a chase scene.
Well, I mean,
With
have
motorcycles.
Yep.
Right, like a dude on a horse shoots a dude on a motorcycle.
Yo, the knife throwing scene at the beginning of
There's
the
so
movie.
many things.
It's just, it was
The
a
freaking
long
dogs.
sequence. The
freaking-
dogs.
Dogs.
The dogs. That was my
Halle
favorite
Berry.
scene.
And
Those
those
dogs deserve awards.
Those freaking dogs, man.
But
Yeah,
also,
I
it's
don't. I
just-
can't believe John Wick didn't win. Like,
Didn't get
The-
nominated for
for
stunt
yeah, didn't
coordination.
get
That's
nominated for
ridiculous.
stunts. That was
like there are literal ninjas in this movie.
yeah.
Like there are
with
shots
sword.
There
where
has-
they will run out of the shadows, and then when you rewind, you're like, wait, he was there the entire time.
Yeah.
The whole time. He was just standing there, and then he just
Waiting.
ran out of the corner, and I was like,
What's funny
What?
is Dallas in our group chat one day was like talking about scenes from that movie because we were complaining about it not getting nominated, and Colin said, "Stop it, you're making this up." And I went, "I can concur that this is actually a thing that
that's a
happened
thing
in
that
this
happened
film.
that-
yes,
These things do happen," and
it's so dope.
it's fantastic. That's actually my favorite John Wick movie.
It's amazing. They
The first
upped
one's my
everything.
favorite, but that one, dude, just the dogs, man.
The third
dog
one's
scene.
my favorite for story purposes, but like,
Also, one of my favorite YouTubers, Cinema Wins, he recently did a video on it. I already love the movie, but just hearing him, like, you know, I guess positively nitpick. I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe it, but he just
it's
like takes
just
everything
praising
good.
movies for things that they do that are cool.
Yeah, but things that like I never would have thought of, and I was like, oh my God, that's true. It's just such a good movie.
I
love
saw somebody on YouTube took the final fight scene that he does with I can't think of the actor's name. He's so
Mark
great. He was in,
Dacascos?
he was in Wu Assassins too.
Mhm.
They took that final fight scene with the swords and they made them lightsabers instead. It was just so
Ah,
great.
very
But
nice.
like not just made them lightsabers, no, like would put burn marks on the windows and stuff too whenever
That's
like the
dope.
lightsaber would go through it, or like put a burn mark on the character. So
Wow.
much like work. I was like, this is like amazing.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm upset that they're not nominated for stunt. Like the dogs alone
There
should have
has-
got them nominated.
Right?
There has to be
Right.
like some sort of rule or something, a
Yeah.
guideline
Yeah,
that they
something
didn't
happened.
hit
Something
because
happened.
Yeah,
John
because-
Wick, literally the director Chad
That's what they are.
Chad
they used to be
Stileski and
stunt
David
people.
Lech. Yeah, they used to be some people, but like they're literally so good at directing their action scenes that like they've been calling them in to do second unit directing for action sequences on like Birds of Prey,
Wow.
on Black Widow.
Yeah.
I think they did some of the stunt directing for Civil War.
Damn.
Like they call them in just to be like, yo, bro, we got some action sequences that we need shot. Can you do this real quick?
As
And
they should.
yeah, and they'd be like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't care. Let's do it.
But yeah, that movie's amazing.
Which just tells me that Birds of Prey action sequences are going to be
I can't wait.
legit. Colin.
Number
7.
7.
Eat me. My number 7 is Detective Pikachu.
I was wondering if that was going to
Wild.
list.
Yeah, the Boulder is conflicted about this
The
one.
Boulder's
Like, on the one hand, I don't like Ryan Reynolds, and I don't think I'm ever going to like Ryan Reynolds. And, like, he's fine here, but he's definitely, I still think, not the best choice for that role. Him aside, this movie did live action Pokemon in a way that, like, it was equal parts beautiful and terrifying. Like, for every Bulbasaur, right, you get a Mr. Mime. And it's like, I didn't want to see that ever, but now you've made me see it. But, like,
It's beautiful.
I don't know. It works. The plot is insane. It doesn't make any sense. And that's fine. It doesn't need to. I saw that movie
Is
twice.
it the
and
plot that doesn't make sense or
the
just the plot twist that doesn't make sense?
The plot twist was Pikachu
I
was
would
dead the whole time.
argue a little bit of both. I don't know which plot twist you're referring to because there are two. And
There's another
neither of them really makes any sense. So, like, yeah, it's weird, but I don't care. Like, I want more of the world, more Pokemon and humans living together in harmony, because that's something the games never really address except for Gen 5, I want to say, had the team that was like, Pokemon are inherently like slaves and we're not treating them well and that's not cool. And then they kind of forgot about that.
The
and
kids
they moved
weren't
on.
ready, as the kids were not ready.
Yes, we were, though. At that point, those of us who'd grown up with it were old enough that we could understand that, and then they just moved past that. Now we don't think about it
Are they
anymore.
gearing these towards you guys, though, or are they gearing them towards the kids?
We're not, but I just feel like they started off, the first movie is like, we shouldn't play God. They always went hard.
That's true.
So,
You were not wrong.
but like, I just, this movie was so, I don't know how I like this movie as a whole, but I want more movies in the Pokemon universe because
That are live action?
it was cool. Yes, honestly, because they've shown that they can make it work. Like, I don't want a straight adaptation of the games because their plots are threadbare at best.
Yeah, I was about to say, do those games have plots? I
Oh,
thought we were
absolutely,
just
they
off to be
do,
the very best.
But
That no one ever
no,
was.
I mean, they have plots so that the legendaries make sense. Like, oh man, they summoned this one and now it's going to flood the world. That's the plot. Stop it. That's fine.
That's very
whatever.
simple.
I don't care.
You can add on that.
I don't really need that. That said, I want a game set in that region because that region had pirates, and they're the coolest, and I love them so much.
Didn't they announce a second Detective Pikachu, that they're doing a sequel?
I don't know that I think they said they were talking about it, but I don't know if it was officially announced. I think it was one of those, like, we don't know.
But we're talking about it.
See, I don't want a second Detective Pikachu, though. I don't want that character back because I don't really like that character. But this world has enough in it that you can do literally anything.
Yeah, it's in the works, apparently.
Dope. It was funny because this movie has been on my list. It was on my list for a while.
I think it was on my honorary for a while.
I took it off my list because the only reason I did like it so much was because of Detective Pikachu. And I was like, I can't have a movie on my list that I really just love one character and actor from it, because that plot is ridiculous. And it's like, I can do ridiculous. I just talked about John Wick for like 5 minutes. John Wick is ridiculous. Detective
It
Pikachu is a
is.
different kind of ridiculous, and it's not the kind that I was really about. But I loved it because of Ryan Reynolds. And I was like, all right, this is why we have actor and character lists.
You're right.
Yeah, so the movie just slid off my list.
Fine.
But I also love Justice Smith, so shout out to him.
It's very cool. I like Catherine Newton and was surprised to see her in this movie.
Yeah,
So,
I like her now that I've seen the movie.
yeah, I liked her in other things before that.
Gabby.
Number 7.
My number 7 is The Farewell.
That's all you guys.
Cool, now we can talk about it.
Woo!
Yay! Wait, what?
Fantastic
Oh,
movie.
You brought it up earlier.
It was my number 10, but
Yay.
we had to skip it, but now we can talk about it.
Yay. Okay, so I really like this movie because, one, I really love dramas. And two, I just like how different this one was. And oddly enough, I related to the family's decision because it seems like something we would do in my culture too. So it's just... And I like how the movie was more about, like, you know, one culture may think of things one way, but another culture thinks of it another way. And sometimes you just have to go along with with what your family wants, regardless of what you may think of it. It's not your choice. So I like that. And I like seeing Awkwafina in a dramatic role. I really hope she's nominated for an Oscar over this. It seems like the Oscar race is going to be a lot closer than I previously
Than we
thought.
anticipated.
Yeah, so I was hoping that she would be nominated and like a front runner, but it seems like that's not the case anymore. But I want her to at least get a nomination now.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's really good
in
in
like
it.
pretty much everything,
Yeah.
and this is no exception. Like
No.
she's
no
so
exception.
good, and it's
Yeah.
like upsetting how good she is at acting.
Right.
Like
She's like very normal in this film, which is unlike her.
Yeah, she's not over the top, but it's interesting to watch somebody that's normally over the top just play something quiet. It's like watching Jim Carrey in like
Well, I mean, that's
Eternal
usually,
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
or I love that movie.
It's freaking
But also
wild.
like Adam Sandler, whenever he does things like Punch Drunk Love or Uncut Gems, like
Yeah.
you know, they typically get acclaim for it because they're really good at it, but they don't normally do it,
Yeah.
and that's what this feels like.
Yeah, it feels like, you know, she was still her, like she was Aquafina from Queens for about 5 minutes at the beginning, and then she
Not
was
even.
like, huh?
Not even
I mean,
for like 20 seconds when she was talking to that girl about
That's
the
true.
petition.
Yep. And then like after that, she was just like, you know, like really in a lot of pain emotionally, and then having a lot of fun and back to the pain. It was really good.
it also did really cool things with like culture class, even when it comes to like language. Like there are at least a couple scenes where people have conversations in English specifically so that the people around them won't understand,
Oh, yep.
and
we
that's
do that.
really cool. Like the way that's used is really fun.
I also really like the scene of them at dinner,
Yeah, that
and they're
scene was
talking about
good.
America versus China.
Oh, that scene was
And
really
yeah.
good.
Japan as well, like
Yeah.
you know what they consider to be home and what they're aspiring to, like what their goals are for their children
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
association with these countries and what these countries kind of represent to each of them,
Yeah.
because I thought it was really interesting because it's a bunch of people from the same family
Yeah.
but they all have a different perspective about these
Mhm.
different countries.
Because they all moved to different countries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or stayed. It was such a good movie. I don't want it to be overlooked, but I'm afraid it might be.
It could get a screenplay nomination adapted.
Yeah, and I think it'll be.
Is it adapted from something?
Yeah, it's adapted from a
from
NPR,
an NPR
interview.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Which I really liked, which I'd already heard. That's why I was excited about it, because I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I remember listening to this on This American Life. Yeah, so that's why the main reason I wanted to see it, is because I'd already kind of heard the story, and then
She wanted to see it dramatized
Yeah, I wanted to see it dramatized
by the woman who I think this actually happened to, Lulu
Yeah.
Wang.
I don't know if she wrote it or if she directed it.
I think she did both.
I
Okay.
want to say she did both. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So whoops. So yeah, that's really, I really like that aspect, and that's why I wanted to see it. But I think it could be because I think it was technically a Chinese film. It might be best foreign picture as well, like nominated for best foreign picture.
I think it's an American film.
I thought
Well,
it was
is it
like a
best
Chinese
foreign
production.
film or best foreign language, or is there a difference between the Oscars and the Golden Globes? 'Cause I think Golden Globes does best foreign language.
Oscars is best foreign film, which is why people have been up in arms, because there was a film from I think Nigeria that got disqualified because the whole film is in English, but that's their language.
Yeah, I remember
Rude.
that.
What?
Sounds racist.
That doesn't really make
Sounds
any sense, but
racist.
okay.
Yeah, so now people are like, you guys need to clarify what your rules are,
Right.
because is it foreign language or is it has to be from a different country?
Hmm.
Yeah, because otherwise sounds racist to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's why I really like The Farewell.
Cool. My number 7 is Hustlers.
Oh, I forgot about Hustlers.
Yes. All right. Number 7 is Hustlers. I really loved Hustlers. I thought Hustlers was better than I thought it was going to be. Because when I saw that trailer, I was just like,
It's a
all
booty
right,
shaking movie.
It's going to be a fun little stripper film. Like, you know, it's not going to be nothing spectacular. And then the review started coming out and comparing it to Goodfellas. And I was like, oh my God, what is this movie? Like, what are you telling me right now? And I went to see it and I was like, no, you guys aren't wrong. This is like Oscar potential type of film without trying to be.
I think it was trying. I don't think it was
I don't know.
trying
No,
to
it's
be. I
definitely
think
not
they were just
trying.
out to make a good movie,
No, yeah,
and then it ended
yeah.
up like fitting that.
No, there are like certain movies you watch and you're like, no, you tried to make an Oscar movie.
yeah,
and
like
this one was-
1917.
But this one was like, nah, you just made a movie and it's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's Oscar
you
worthy.
made the best movie that you could make.
Yeah.
Lorene Scafaria is now a director who is somebody that I'm probably going to keep an eye out on from now on, because wow.
Great job.
Jennifer Lopez,
Ooh.
listen, she might have that supporting actress Oscar locked up.
Really? I think it's
a lot
gonna
of
be
people,
a race.
a
but
lot of people
honestly,
still have her name on their lips for that. For that one.
good. She better, because I think if anybody, after being in the industry this long, deserves something like this, it's Jennifer Lopez. Like, she does so many things and she doesn't really get a lot of accolades for them, and
Yeah.
I just want her to get something.
Her performance is brilliant in this film. Like, I was watching the movie and I was like, that's Jennifer Lopez, but that's not Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, like she's the one that started. I think she's the one that started the whole Vegas thing, where like everybody started going to Vegas now and having a show there.
I
Like
don't
she was
know.
the first one.
But yeah,
And,
she's
like,
she's incredible in this film. Constance Wu is great in this film as well. All the actresses are really good in this movie, but Constance Wu and Jennifer Lopez are like your two main characters. I did really enjoy Keke Palmer's character. I thought Lily Reinhardt's character was interesting, and it was cool to see her in a movie and not just on Riverdale.
Just like real quick, I didn't expect to see so many like pretty nervous girls vomiting this year, and Lily Reinhardt was like the start
She was
of it.
one of the she started it.
There's more than one,
And I didn't need that in my life, but it happened. And I have to deal with it. But yeah, the movie was great. It's like stylized and glamorous, but also kind of like gritty and kind of like it's messed up, dude.
Yep.
These people did some messed up stuff.
Yep.
Like, you still understand why they did it. It's kind of like one of those cool motives, still murder type of things.
Yep.
Where it's like,
Yep.
bro, cool motive. And
Still
I don't
murder.
I don't feel bad for anybody that you guys stole from, because they
me
all
either.
seem to be bad
They all have
dudes.
money.
But
well,
like,
one of them I did feel bad for, but that person actually lost something.
yeah, that's just because he's the only one that comes off to be a good guy.
Yeah.
The rest of them are like, these are assholes. But yeah, so my number 7 is Hustlers. I just got it on DVD, so I'm super excited to watch it again. Let's do this. But yeah, Hustlers. You guys should check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Dallas, number 6.
Number 6. It's funny because when you brought up the people throwing up, one of my least favorite things in movies is people throwing up on screen.
Yes.
And my number 6 is Zombieland Double Tap.
Nice.
That happens a lot in that movie because it's about people turning into zombies.
But also Skip.
Oh, nicely done. Colin, number 6.
My number 6 is Someone Great, which
Aww.
was it number 1 when I first watched it, and then it just slowly sank. But like, man, I'm not the rom-com person. That's Gabby. But here's like, well, I don't know if it's a rom-com.
It's not. I think it's more of a friendship.
Feel like it's,
Oh, that's the Gina Rodriguez one. I never got to watch that one.
It's really not.
like it's a comedy, but I don't know if I'd call it a romance. But like, whatever it is, I like it.
Listen, she's falling in love with herself.
And her friends. It's mostly her friends.
Yeah. Like, she's great. Brittany Snow, I think, is.
I
and
love
DeWanda Wise are
Brittany
also great.
Snow. And I have for
Like,
years.
Oh, man. It's so much fun. Like, their relationships with each other are great.
Yeah, when they come in singing Truth Hurts and they're all in their
it's the
underwear.
best thing
that
in the world.
scene, like, I understand why Truth Hurts hit it big after that. And it's because, like, that scene really captures the feelings behind that song. Like, and what kind of mind space you're in when you sing that song with your friends.
Like, they're great. There's some good gay shit in there. Lakeith Stanfield is there. Like, there's a lot to like in this movie. And I like that it wasn't what I expected it to be. I don't want to spoil it, but like, especially the ending, it did not end the way I thought it would, and that's great. Like, I like the way the story went because I thought it was going to go one way, and in not doing that, it went much more nuanced, I feel. And that was really nice.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, it was nice. Anyway, that's it for my
Gabby,
number 6. Gabby, number
Great.
6.
My number 6 is Spider-Man Far From Home, which was also my
Skip.
number 6 in my most anticipated.
Nice.
Nice. Nicely
Hey.
So,
done.
like, exactly as predicted.
But
So,
skip.
Yes, skipping.
But skip. All right. My number 6 is Yesterday, which was a movie that caught me by surprise this year.
That was a good movie.
I thought it was, I saw the trailers and I was like, looks like it'll be fun. I've
Saw the
not
traders like Lily James.
actually, I had known about this movie for a while, actually, since she had gotten cast in the film. So I was kind of already looking forward to it, but it didn't seem like it was my sort of thing because I was like, it's a musical with Beatles music and I'm not into the Beatles. So like, but I'm going to watch it because Lily James is in it.
Yeah.
And then I watched it.
Wasn't that our first episode?
Yes.
Yes, it
Hey.
It was, and so
Full
was
circle.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes.
Woo, full circle.
But yeah, yesterday just caught me off guard. I went into that movie and I came out like, that's actually like a feel-good movie. It's so good.
Really good.
And I just really loved the performances of that movie. I thought Himesh Patel was a great actor
I
in
can't
this
wait
film.
to see him in more things.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was fantastic. I thought the romance element was really nice because there were moments where like I was like, ooh, this could go down this path. And they would be like, no, we're not going to do that. Like the scene in the hotel room where they're both drunk and like, there's the chance they could have sex right there, right then. And they decide not to. And I was like, this is a good decision on both your parts and on the writer's parts. So thanks for that. It's written by the guy who wrote Love Actually, but it's also directed by Danny Boyle, who directed Slumdog Millionaire. And yeah, so it's a beautiful looking film as well. There are some scenes where I'm just like, yo, these colors, they hit really, really hard. So yeah, it's just a really good movie. Like I said, I've never been into the Beatles music, but I love listening to Himesh Patel sing some of these songs. Lily James sings on one of them, which made me very happy.
Which one?
She sings on I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Oh, okay.
Which is lovely. Ed Sheeran has a song in this film that plays at the end that he still has not released, and I need him to release the song, like officially. I can't keep watching the same scene over and over again just for this song. I can, but I don't want to because it's the end of the movie.
Is it not on the film's soundtrack?
No, it's not. I thought it would
What?
be, but it's not.
Wild.
It's not on the soundtrack. And I'm just like, why? He's performed it live before, too, because he wrote it specifically for the movie.
Oh,
Wow.
So it's just like, release it, my dude. Release it.
that's
It's like
really weird.
That's
yeah,
rude. That's
it's
weird.
one of the few songs in the movie that is not a Beatles song because Ed Sheeran is actually a character in this movie.
Yeah,
Right.
I know.
Also, this movie made me a fan of why can I not think of his name right now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it because I am on the
Oh,
IMDb
the
page.
friend, the buddy.
Yes, Joel Fry.
Yeah.
Joel Fry is hilarious in this movie, especially when he tells Ed Sheeran that he should stop rapping and only black people should stick to rapping. It is hysterical.
Oh God.
Joel Fry is like, I love him. He is the disaster best friend that like you probably would not want to tolerate, but he's a good guy.
He got fired at Glastonbury while working.
Yeah, while working.
Like
He's so great. I love it. And I loved that yesterday it wasn't just the Beatles disappeared. I loved that there were other things that also disappeared in this
like
world.
Coke,
Right.
which is wild.
And cigarettes, which I was like, that's fine. Harry Potter also disappears from that world. I was like, you're in the dark
Wild.
universe, my dude.
At
The
this point,
darkest
Are
time
they? No, I'm just kidding. I can't really hate too much on Harry Potter.
I'm sorry, when you say
But-
Coke, what do you mean?
The soda.
Like this.
Okay.
bro.
No, cocaine actually. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, what is this movie doing?
But that's the joke, though. So Coca-Cola's missing, but
Yeah.
Coke is
Cocaine.
not.
Of course.
Cocaine is still a
So
thing.
whenever he asks for a
Oh,
Coke,
no.
Everyone-
people are like, what? And he's like, oh, right, a
Pepsi.
Pepsi. A Pepsi.
Beautiful.
It's great. That movie, I love the fact that they did that because it's a great gag that runs throughout
Yeah.
the rest of the film. Also,
They
Kate
did.
McKinnon is really funny in this
Oh,
movie.
she's great. She's like the evil, like.
Yeah, she's the evil record label executive.
person.
Yo, Ana de Armas was also supposed to be in this film, and
Was she Lily James's part?
no.
What?
Lily James was always the character that she was supposed to play. Ana de Armas was supposed to be her romantic rival. She was supposed to be like a girl that Jack meets after he gets famous, and that also causes friction between him and Lily James's character for them to get together.
It's a good thing that they didn't do that.
She's in the original trailer. When he's singing on the song on James Corden's show, she's sitting next to him, and it's like he's singing the song to her.
That's weird. I don't like that.
She was supposed to be in it, and they just cut her character because apparently test audiences like
We're like, why is she there?
they were like, we're not feeling this storyline, so they cut her. But like, yo, that's interesting. Fun fact. Anyway, number 5.
Number 5. My number 5 is also my number 5 most anticipated for this year, last year, whatever year, 2019. Us.
Nice. That's all you.
That's all you.
Okay, cool.
I did not like that movie.
I didn't see it.
Us was.
I did.
Oh man, it's like. Let's just talk about the things I really like. The acting is all amazing, because this whole family is playing 2 people, especially Lupita. She was. Oh my God,
I'm
she
so
was
mad
terrifying.
she wasn't nominated for any awards. I'm really upset.
I think
with
she was
everybody.
nominated for one, but none of the really, really big ones that everybody.
They
was
really
nominated.
should have. I'm really upset that they forgot about her.
It's funny because when I did my review on Letterboxd in March, I wrote "Get Lupita an award for this one," and it sounds like they didn't, which is whack. This is another movie with an amazing score. Michael Abels, he also did the score for Get Out, so I don't know if he's just like Jordan Peele's go-to guy, but I hope he stays that way because, like, the intro credits music is horrifying.
Yep.
When they're showing all
hated
those
it.
rabbits.
No, I know. That's why I was like, when that started, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna like this. I had the huge urge to just cover my ears through all of that.
It
Hold
was
on.
a lot. Yeah.
She was nominated for a Critics' Choice Award.
Oh yeah, that's
That's something.
That's an award.
Cool, yeah.
something.
the critics know what's up sometimes.
Well,
Also,
apparently
Michael
not,
Abels.
because don't critics also weigh in on
I don't know.
other awards to a certain extent?
Depending on the award
It
show.
depends. Like the Hollywood Foreign Press is literally only the people that are part of that association, so it's like 90 people. The Academy Awards is the Academy, so some critics are part of the Academy, but not most critics.
That's why the critics have their own award.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Like, we're gonna have our own award show. Also, Michael Abels is the one who gave us that remix of "I Got Five on It."
I got five on it.
Changed the world.
Yep, dude. And it was so scary,
It
but
was
in such a good way.
It was played at my friend's Halloween party, and I was like,
As it
yes.
should be. Yes, it's perfect for Halloween. And yeah, it's a horror movie in which I actually cared about the characters because a lot of times you make a horror movie, it's just like
They're
they're
gonna
gonna
die
die.
anyway.
Oh well, they're stupid. But like, no, this family, I wanted all of them to survive because I love them and they're amazing. But yeah, Jordan Peele is undefeated for me. Master of horror.
He's 2 for 2.
He's 2 for 2 as far as the horror movies go. And I just want him to keep making more movies,
Yeah.
especially horror movies.
I
Which is
wonder-
also like the movie Antebellum that's coming out.
Yeah.
It looks so much like a Jordan Peele movie, and it's not. And
But
I'm
it is
confused.
not.
I just don't get it.
I think what it is they realize that, well,
They're like,
I think they realize that there's a genre here, like a subset to a genre,
Yeah.
and that people are actually willing to watch it.
Jordan Peele horror.
Yeah. Or like,
And yeah, it worked because I saw that and I was like, oh, what's this?
I want horror, or like Jordan Peele to take on like Latinx, like main characters for horror, I think, because he's such a good
Write him a
writer.
letter.
Huh?
Write him a letter. He might do it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Just tweet him.
I want him to do like some sort of like
I feel like he'd be the
fucked
type.
up farm workers storyline.
I feel like he'd be the type of guy who would find somebody else who would understand that lifestyle or that
Yeah,
culture
he'd
better.
probably like
Maybe.
pass it off to
But he'd
somebody.
probably
like,
have,
"Hey,
like,
Frick,
a
you
He'd
do
put
good
his
this."
story.
name on it as like producer, but he'd probably
Yeah.
give it to somebody else to handle.
Maybe. I want to see it done though. I think just because of how much he likes horror, I feel like he'd be able to come up with a good story. Maybe
Definitely.
hand it off to someone Latino to like edit it. I'd like to see him take on, like I said, like a fucked up.
She's like, I'd like to see it.
yeah, farm workers like storyline.
Which is fun. Like, never mind. Like I said.
What?
But this movie also kind of like catapulted one of my favorite trends, which is people finding creepy white people videos on Twitter and sending them to Jordan Peele.
Oh no! Oh no!
Like there's a video of that sorority
Oh yeah!
when they're like
Oh.
cheering and then they open the door and there's like
Yes.
1,000 of them.
Yes.
It's like that's a Jordan Peele movie.
I
Please
remember
wait.
that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Did
moving
Jordan
on.
tell them to stop? Or was
No.
he,
Like
bring it
someone
on?
sent it to him and I can't remember what he said, but he responded to it and I was like, yes, make this a movie.
God.
Colin.
Number 5.
Me. My number 5 is Last Christmas.
I gave you my heart.
2 rom-coms in a row. This is weird. But like
Is it? I'm just kidding.
for me, yeah, because I don't really fuck with rom-coms. But like this one has Emilia Clarke,
Yes, it does.
and honestly, like she was great as Danny. Don't get me wrong, but I like her so much more when she's not Danny and she's doing like rom-coms.
when she gets to
like
express
this and
herself.
Me Before You. Okay, Me Before You is not a rom-com. It's pretty
No, it's
dramatic,
not.
but like
it's a romance.
yeah, when she gets to not be Daenerys, I think she's so much more fun.
There's
I think
like
it's just
so much light to her.
I think that's because we get
Yeah.
to see Emilia Clarke be more Emilia Clarke, because Emilia Clarke herself is just quirky and excitable, and she is that person, and her face is just so expressive.
yeah,
And Daenerys doesn't get to be those things.
yeah,
She is not those things. So it's always fun to get to see Amelia be kind of Amelia,
Mm-hmm.
because that person, she has such a precious personality.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a light, and it's fun. I loved Kate.
Also, Henry Golding is just
Fantastic.
delightful.
Just pretty
Like,
in
he's,
it.
he's great.
Yes.
He's just a great human being. And like, I don't really know much of Wham or George Michael's music, but it works well for this movie.
It does.
It's got some bops. Like,
He does, and I love the end credit song, which I think was an unreleased song by him.
oh,
But like, I freaking loved that song. I was like, yo, this is, every time I would like stand outside that theater to like, before I would have to get to go in and clean it or whatever, I was
Mhm.
like, hey, yo.
Yeah, exactly.
What? Yeah, I really loved that movie. I was really sad that I had to, I knew from the moment that I put it on my list, I was like, it's not going to survive on here. I was like, there's so many more movies coming out. I was like, it's not going to survive.
Yeah.
Which is why it made my honorary. But I was super excited about that movie because of Emilia Clarke. And it was just the cutest little Hallmark movie with a big
Yeah.
budget.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is what I liked about it. I'm like, I don't care if this plot doesn't make any sense to anybody else except me. Like,
Yeah.
like
I would
this
like,
is great.
I would like to thank Emma Thompson for letting Emilia Clarke shine as Emilia Clarke, but
Yeah.
a disaster Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. Was
Yeah.
Emma Thompson the director?
Writer.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes.
Amazing.
To me, I am shocked because you said this was in your honorable mentions, right?
Yes, it was.
Like when you said honorable mentions and then Colin put it in his top 5.
Yeah.
Like if you would have told me when this trailer came out, Demi's not gonna have it in her
Oh,
top 10,
Demi.
but Colin's gonna have it in his top 5.
Now remember, because we were at a party when that trailer came out.
Right.
I left to go to the bathroom so I could watch the trailer as soon as it came out.
That's the thing. It's like this trailer came out. I was like, oh, this is Demi's favorite movie of the year.
It is not.
It was like, this is at least in Demi's top 5. It has to be.
No.
And then you said honorable, and I was like, what's going on
Which
here?
is funny. It was also on my honorary mentions for most anticipated last year.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of just in the same spot.
You know what you're about.
Same area. I loved it. It's just, there were so many good movies this year,
There were
so many. Like, I would see a movie that I knew I was super excited about, and then I'd see another one that I had no expectations for, and was just like, bro.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
Gabby.
Number 5.
My number 5 is Zombieland 2. Zombieland Double Tap.
Good movie.
And it was actually number 2 on my most anticipated list last year.
I remember that because we were shocked because your top 3 was nothing but horror movies.
Yeah. And one of them managed to really delight me. The other ones were fine.
Which also, let's be like, this is
we
a
don't
comedy.
like horror movies.
This is,
Yeah, it's a horror comedy.
like there's zombies in it, but this movie is hilarious.
Like, I saw
Yeah,
Zombieland 2 twice. Like,
it's not scary.
It was really, really funny. Also, like, the other 2 were really, really good. They just disturbed me so much that I never want to see them again. So
I understand that feeling.
So I can't put them on my list. But I was looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah, Zombieland
And they
2
were good movies. I just can't. I'm never going to watch either of them ever again.
Zombieland 2 was worth the 10 years of waiting that we had to do for that movie to come out.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was really good.
It just took everything that
so
I
good.
loved from the first one and doubled down on it.
And then it brought Madison in.
Yeah, and like
Right,
the
it
best
made it
thing
better.
about it was like it's been 10 years, so it's not like, oh, I saw this 2 years ago. They just did the same thing. It's like, yeah, they did the same thing 10 years apart. So I'm
Right.
fine with it. Like, I was missing it.
Madison, bro.
So
Madison
Deutsch
is
came
the
in.
breakout. I hope she gets a TV show.
God. Listen,
Just
just
been living in the freezer.
listen. Just I'm hoping that this is the moment that people finally are just like, oh, Zoe Deutsch, that girl.
Dude, they should have
She's-
been on her.
Yeah,
Honestly,
she's so
this movie
good.
definitely had that effect on me because I saw a trailer that she was in for the movie Buffalo,
Yeah.
where she's like a broke hustler, and I'm just like, I have to see it. Like, Madison is out here in the streets.
Yo, I'm like so tempted to watch The Politician on Netflix because she's in it.
I can't watch that because I've seen too much, and I'm like, nope, not for me.
Oh, God.
But I would love
I'm not
to.
a Ryan Murphy fan, which is the reason why I
Yeah.
haven't yet.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
love Zoe Deutsch enough that I might just do it. But like, all the new characters are like great in that movie.
So
It's
good.
so funny.
It's like Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick are my dudes when it comes to writing.
I've become a fan of theirs because they haven't missed yet for me.
Yeah, like they have that perfect like action comedy, probably going too far in some parts, but it's hilarious anyway. Like that's their
Yeah.
style, and I love it.
Well, their comedy is just so like sharp. Is
Mhm.
what I'm noticing.
Yeah,
Yes.
Like it's just every time they write a comedy, I'm just like, this is hysterical. Like there's not a moment where I'm like, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
Also, Woody Harrelson. Oh my god,
Oh, he's so
I love
great.
him so much.
And his
He was
Elvis
such a
impersonation.
dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
He was peak dad in this movie.
which is crazy because he's also a freaking insane person. But like, you know, obviously
Pacifist.
for reasons, I am not an Elvis fan. But Woody Harrelson singing "Burning Love" in the credits.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite things
Yeah,
about
so
last year.
good.
Like you said for Last Christmas, when you
Yeah.
would like hear the credits playing every time,
Every
Zombieland
time,
would be
man.
breaking. I got to get to whatever house Zombieland is playing in because I'd just be sitting there in the corner of the theater singing
Hunka,
"Hunka
hunka,
Hunka Burning
Burning
Love" with Woody Harrelson. Also,
If one of us ever gets famous, we have and we meet Woody Harrelson, we have to bring him to you and be like, "Hi, yes, would you sing this with my
Can you
friend?"
sing
please
Burning
sing this
Love?
with me. And Bill Murray. Bill freaking Murray.
Bill frickin' Murray.
I love that they found a place for him.
Mm-hmm. And it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good. I love this movie.
Loved it.
Yeah, no, I was really sad. Once again, another movie I was sad that I had to put on my honorary list because I was like, yo, this was so good.
It's funny because like my list, my top like 6 was pretty much set since like I saw these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after 7, like 7 and down, was like shifting all over the place. But like once Zombieland hit number 6, I was like, that's just gonna stay there. Like the top 6 is gonna be what it is.
I couldn't. I was shifting things around until like yesterday, bro.
I was shifting everything after like 7 and after, but like
I shifted things around like right before this because I realized that
Yeah, sometimes I
I
just have
could a little bit.
realizations.
yeah.
Or like
enjoy.
I was going off my letterboxd and then I realized that like 4 of the things were the same score and they were just put on there like in no particular order.
You needed to figure out which one you actually liked
So
more
I
than
was
the
like,
other.
well, I didn't figure out. I was like, well, I like this one more, but I like that one more. And then I looked down and they were all the same score and I was like, I can just rearrange this.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
All right. My number 5 is Shazam.
Ooh.
Hey, Skip.
Cool. Dope.
We are moving
Dallas, number
right
4.
along to my number 4, which is Shazam.
Okay.
Well, okay. All right.
well,
that's
You-
fine.
That
By the
was
rules of the game.
funny.
Cool.
That's fine.
So
Okay, let's
we
all
gotta
talk about
it. Also,
Shazam now.
time out.
Wait.
Shazam was also my number 4 for my most anticipated.
Shazam was number 7 on my most anticipated and number 5 on my favorite of 2019.
Shazam
So it
was
moved
on
up.
my, let me see. Shazam was my number 5. So it stayed, it dropped a little bit. Yeah, dropped
Yeah,
to
my,
10.
my number 4 and 5 stayed exactly where they were.
So the crazy thing is Shazam was my number 3 until about 2 days ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was
just-
going through my list
you
and
just
just had
slide them
to,
down?
yeah, things got slid around. But I was excited about Shazam. You guys know I was excited about Shazam because I'm a big Zachary Levi fan.
Yeah, of
And
course.
the
Oh,
moment
I
he
love
got
Zachary Levi.
the
too.
moment he got cast, I was just like, he's perfect. He's absolutely perfect to play Shazam.
He was
Like,
amazing.
there is nobody else for this role. And I know a lot of people were worried because, like, yeah, he doesn't have the body mass that Henry Cavill does.
Right.
But
Who
like
cares?
he just has the
He's
charisma.
Shazam.
He's just got the goofy charisma to be a kid in a superhero's body.
hmm
And he's perfect. He's so good in this role.
He was made for it.
But it's also just like I was a little nervous because it was DC. And DC be hit and missing.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
No,
So
I feel like they
here's
miss more than they
the
hit.
thing. This movie was great. I want it to not ever be part of the DCEU. Like, I don't care about
It's
crossover.
too
None of that. I
late.
want it to stay away from all of that because that will just drag it down.
I mean, they already brought Superman in,
Like, I don't
sort of.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't want to put Shazam next to like Batman.
I wanna put
because
Shazam next
I
to
feel
Wonder
like that
Woman.
will suck the energy out of Shazam.
That depends on the director and who wrote the movie.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see Shazam next to Batman because of
See,
Young Justice.
I
and
would
things
love
That's the
to
thing. It's like,
see-
yeah, I've seen these things. They work in animation, so
I
just
would-
do what you do in animation.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
like
but
to
you've been
see,
saying
like,
that for years, and
what
they
do you
haven't
call
done
it?
that.
That's
You
not
know
our
how,
fault.
Like, how Rob Pattinson was like really dour in Twilight, but everybody else in Twilight was like, "I'm having a great time."
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they should do. Just
Shazam's
put
like,
the
"I'm having a
Shazam-
great time."
Yeah, put the Shazam funness with just like Batman being Batman in the middle, and don't frame it around Batman. Frame it around Shazam.
It's
And I
ju-
think it
yeah,
would be a great
Shazam
time.
was just like Shazam. Literally, I think is my second favorite DC movie that they've released.
Other than
Only
Wonder
because
Woman?
Wonder Woman exists.
Yeah, I
Shazam's
think
actually my favorite.
Shazam's like
Makes
top
sense.
3. I think I like Wonder Woman, then Suicide Squad, then Shazam.
We have the same top 3 in a different order.
I want to say Suicide Squad is like number 4, but I might
but
be
that's
wrong.
me not having seen the first Superman movie.
Oh, you haven't seen Man of Steel?
Man of
I
Steel.
Me
haven't seen
neither.
Man of Steel. I want to now that I apparently am a fan of Henry Cavill's.
It's all right.
Apparently.
Yeah, she is.
If
She's
you didn't know for yourself.
no,
she's
I-
trying to
I
step
thought
in
he
on my
was-
man.
I thought he was really boring.
Your man.
She's
And,
trying to step in on my
I
man.
realized
She wants
that
to replace
he's
Chris
boring,
Evans
but
with
that's
him.
okay. No, I'm not.
I was
I'm
about
just
to
taking
say-
a Chris Evans break with Henry Cavill.
I was about to say,
Nothing
like,
could ever replace
you thought
Chris
he was
Evans.
boring, and then you watched presumably The Witcher,
Yes.
Yeah.
where, from what I've seen,
I thought the
That would be the one to
actor
make you
like
think
was
he's
kind of
boring.
boring. Like I'd watch his
Got it.
interviews and I'd be like, "You are very proper, sir," and I'm gonna fall asleep.
Meanwhile, I love that man to pieces. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Shazam. Superhero movies continue this trend of hiring horror directors.
yeah, I was gonna say David
And-
F. Sandberg is showing his range.
Oh, he killed
because
that.
He did
Well-
Lights Out.
Is he? Because he had some horror elements in that movie.
He had a couple here and
Okay,
there, but
I'm
Yeah, but that
sorry,
movie
those
was
were
not trying to be scary.
It wasn't trying to be scary, but he added his own flair into it, was what I'm saying, and that's impressive
Yeah,
because
but-
superhero movies.
Did he? It felt like garden variety monsters.
Yeah.
No, because
me,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Same.
Yes, but people are getting their heads bitten off.
honestly, yeah, like as the one person here who loves superhero movies and horror movies, he definitely did his own thing with it.
Yeah, like that's not like, yeah, sure, the story might run along the lines of a normal superhero movie, but some of the things that he added are horror movie elements to kind of heighten like the sensationalism of a superhero movie. Especially like kids are involved, bro. I don't want no gargoyles coming up on no kids and like fighting their heads off and stuff. Like that wasn't expected. When I watch a superhero movie, I don't expect somebody to get their head bitten off by a monster, at least not on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I appreciate the diversity of their family.
Yes.
Yes, the Shazam
Delightful.
family. I was so shocked that they actually had the Shazam
I know that was
family in this
wild.
movie.
I was
amazing.
like, I think I was like, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. Up until like the scene where he kind of had to do it, and I was like, yes.
That's the thing about. I think that's part of the thing about this movie that I love so much is that
They managed.
this
to keep
is
that
the
a
movie
secret.
where they're like, hey, all that goofy stuff that you don't want to adapt sometimes into live action, we're just gonna go for it.
Yeah, but I
including
think-
his costume.
Yeah.
But I think that worked.
it worked for Shazam. It worked perfect.
Yeah, it works for certain titles and for other titles. Like, for example, Jessica Jones's costume, like that doesn't work. But like for
It's
for
funny to make a
something
joke
like
about.
Shazam, yes, it is. But like for something like Shazam, it really does work.
I think
really
it's
great.
just, and I've been saying this for years, a lot of I felt like DC movies were far too gritty and dark, and I was like, not every DC universe character is gritty and dark.
It doesn't fit.
Do not give me a Shazam movie in the style of Batman.
Right.
Give me a
Yeah.
Shazam
I don't want a
movie.
Christopher Nolan Shazam movie.
Yeah,
No.
and they didn't do that, and
Yeah.
Shazam came out fantastic.
I think
And that's
that
why
was
a lot of people
DC's
like-
problem.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people like Aquaman. Is Aquaman the best
Oh,
DC
yeah.
movie? No,
No.
but it knows
It
what it is,
fits.
and it's
Absolutely.
and it's fun.
Yeah. It's great. I
It is.
love
It is
Aquaman.
not Batman Aquaman. It is Aquaman.
No, it's not Superman, Batman. Like, we want color. We want happiness. Like,
Yeah.
I want hope.
I want freaking Henry Cavill to smile. Like,
And he did in Justice League. It was great.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
When he got to
a
play
real,
Superman, yeah.
we got to see a real Superman.
Yeah. Also, but I want to give a shout out to the kids in Shazam,
Oh, yeah,
Asher
they're great.
Oh,
Angel,
they were so good.
and Jack Dylan Grazer.
So
Oh,
good.
Jack, he was amazing.
You're really
Every
just
single
gonna shout
child
them out.
on-
You're not gonna
no,
shout out Darla.
all
huh?
of them.
Really? You're just gonna leave
Every
Darla
single
dust?
one.
I was talking mainly about our two lead kid
yeah,
actors.
sure.
But I mean, yes, Faith Herman, who plays Darla Dudley, is adorable.
So cute.
Darla's the best.
All
great.
of those kids, man.
All of those kids.
You all deserve awards.
Mark Strong plays a great villain in this movie.
He's
Oh,
always great.
Yeah.
Mark Strong
Dude,
is
Mark
always great.
Strong is the best villain, period.
See, I feel
I
like
don't know about a
he
period,
felt kind of
but-
weak in this movie, but I didn't care
No.
because
it
he
wasn't
needed to
about
be a
him.
villain, and he was a villain, and he
I
killed some
feel
people,
like-
did some stuff, whatever. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't need to care because I wasn't focused on him because the rest of it was so good that you just needed a villain to have a villain.
I
And
feel
it
that way
worked.
in a sense. I feel like his character was weak.
But he's good.
His
Oh, yeah.
performance was
Yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah.
So he elevated a character that was otherwise pretty forgettable
Yeah.
by being Mark Strong.
Yep.
Because Mark Strong is great.
There's just so many great things about
He's
this
the
movie.
best, man.
Yeah, it's just a great superhero movie, man. Like, you guys should go see it if you have not seen Shazam. It was probably one of the best superhero movies of last year.
It was. It definitely was.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Was that my number 4?
Yes, call it number 4.
My number 4 is Queen and Slim.
Ooh.
Hey.
Man, I like this movie so much more than I expected to because it wasn't what I expected it to be. Like, you tell me, all right, it's about people who, killed a cop and went on the run. I expect there's going to be like shootouts and it's going to be tense and there's going to be danger at every turn. And it wasn't that.
No, it wasn't.
It was a lot slower and there's horseback riding and dancing in a nightclub and like, that's my shit right there. Like, Queen and Slim is so interesting because these characters, they don't make the best decisions, and I love that so much. Like, they could do the logical thing, which would be not to do anything that would draw attention to themselves ever, and they don't do that because, yeah, we're on the run for our lives, but also there's still time to, like, live life and do things we want to do, and, like, man, like, oh, it's so much fun. Like, my favorite thing in stories in general is just, like, emotion. I will write 1,000 emotional conversations over one action scene because action scenes are boring as hell. And like, this movie is so much of like the quiet moments in between when they're getting shot at that just, I latched onto those and I like it so much.
It's funny. Wait, Demi and Gabby, did you guys see this movie?
No.
I really
Alright.
wanted to, but
It's funny because like, this is the perfect instance of a movie that has something for everybody. Because all of Colin's favorite parts about this movie
Are the ones that you don't
are the
like.
parts that bother me. And I love this movie. Like, we both love this movie for completely different reasons, but it's great to both of us because the movie's just that good. Like, the performances are great. Daniel Kaluuya is
Oh, it's great. I don't know what you're.
one of the best British people at sounding American
He's
of all time.
incredible.
So good.
Like, I think right after we saw the movie, I think you showed me an interview with him.
Yeah.
Oh,
With his
yeah, he's-
actual accent. and I
He
was like,
English.
what? You
yeah.
what?
He's
Like-
English, man.
He John Boyega English.
Yes.
But you wouldn't know it watching
He
this
like-
movie. He's
I mean, the
so
same
good.
thing with John Boyega
like
too.
Idris, man. Yeah, those three, Idris, John Boyega, and Daniel Kaluuya, are like the British trilogy of American accents. Like, the three of them doing an American. I can usually tell when other Brits could do it, but like not those three. Those three I forget.
Yeah, they don't break.
No.
They're amazing. And what's her name?
Jodie Turner-Smith.
Yes.
Who
Smith.
just
I
got
forgot
married.
the hyphen.
Congrats to her.
Nice. Congrats to you, Jodie.
And I think she's pregnant as well.
Okay.
Cute.
Getting
Right.
started. But yeah, this movie's great. For me, it's mostly the performances and the people around them. Bokeem Woodbine's in it. And he's great too.
He's always great.
Yeah.
He's like
dope.
one of those lesser known
Who is
actors
he?
who's always like supporting.
He's the Uncle Pimp.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he's great.
And
Nobody will ever know his name, but you know who he is.
Oh, I know him. He played a really
See, exactly.
he's always,
messed
I
up
know
dude
him.
in this
He's
Yeah,
that guy.
movie.
he's that guy. In like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dope. But yeah, and even I wouldn't say that I was bored with the slow parts that Colin's into. It was just like, come on, guys. Move it along. The cops are after you. Move. But like, that didn't make the movie any worse. And shout out to Melina Matsoukas because this is her first feature film. Because she was doing music videos very well, and she just like jumped right in with Lena Waithe.
Yeah, I mean,
in
she
this
did
movie
the
and
entire
killed
Lena
it.
Waithe did a great job.
She did the entire
Probably.
Lemonade thing,
Writing. So.
Mm-hmm.
and that is in itself basically a feature film. So
Right.
It is.
But yeah, great movie. Queen and Slim. Cop killer, cop killer.
Gabby, number 4.
Oh yeah, because Colin just went. Sorry.
Yes, he did.
My number 4 is Terminator: Dark Fate.
Hey, let's
Ooh,
talk about it.
Interesting.
Let's talk
Woo!
about it. Danny and Grace.
Oh, I ship it so hard. Yeah, that's about it. I just ship it really hard.
No, I thought it was I thought it was a great film. As a Terminator fan.
Yeah,
I thought it was
dude.
a great return to Terminator, even though it's kind of like The Force Awakens. It's kind of just a rehash of something we've already seen,
Yeah.
but with a bit of a twist.
Yeah, and what I appreciate is that they weren't afraid to kind of go there, especially at the beginning of the movie with what they did.
I feel like it's.
But it worked.
I
for
feel
me.
like
I know
we've come
people are
like a
very
long enough
angry.
way. You know what? We should have done a spoiler alert before we did this. There will be spoilers in this review.
We'll just
they
re-record that part.
they killed John Connor.
They killed John Connor, and
Like-
that's why
That upset
everybody
a lot of
lost
people.
their minds.
To be fair.
To be fair.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't even going for that, but oh, you're the best. That was the first 5 minutes of the movie. Like, I remember I sold someone a ticket to it, or they came in late, and they were like a few minutes late, and I was like, yeah, I'll let you in, but you have missed
You have
the
missed the
inciting
plot twist.
incident.
You
Like,
miss a lot.
You have missed the plot twist. Like if you missed the first couple minutes of that movie, you have missed a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and I was excited. I remember I was excited about John Connor being in this movie because I'm a John Connor fan.
Yep.
Even though he's nowhere near as important as his mother, which is kind of the entire point
I think that's
of
the
this
point
movie.
of this movie. It's like the person that made the difference for the future was
Wasn't-
actually Sarah Connor.
It was Sonic. Yeah.
We never saw John Connor reach his full potential. We only saw.
I mean, we
Sarah.
did, but we saw it in bad
Oh
movies.
God,
So
let's not talk about that. But
That
we
no longer
always
exists in this
saw
timeline.
Sarah Connor doing what she needed to do for her kid. So like, I feel like the whole time these movies were less about John and more about Sarah.
I mean, even
And that's the point that this movie was making.
The first movie is about saving Sarah Connor. The second movie is about Sarah Connor making tough choices. Even the TV series is called Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Exactly.
It's always been about Sarah, and I think this movie kind of remembered that,
Or like
And it
wanted
made-
to double down and tell people that.
yeah.
that's what
So
it's
it
about.
remembers that Sarah is important, and then it also brings in a new character who, like, I love the idea that this movie has of, okay, yeah, John Connor died. He was considered the savior of the world, but humanity is always going to be the type of thing where somebody else is going to pick up the mantle immediately after, because we're
Yeah.
not just going to give up. Somebody else is going to do the job if the last guy didn't do it.
Exactly.
So in this case,
And like
it's
they had
Danny.
already saved the world. Technically, they prevented Judgment Day.
But and also, I love the idea that humans are also stupid enough to continue to
Yep.
try and make this thing a reality.
Yep.
So somebody's going to always have to continue to pick up the mantle.
Yep. And also,
I was like, yeah, these are
Yep.
two very true statements.
Yep. And apart from that, the action sequences in this movie were amazing.
Bruh.
They were so dope.
Gabriel
Like,
Luna.
Gabriel Luna, man.
dude.
I'm a huge fan of his now. He will forever be in all my fan casts, probably, along with
Of
Oscar
course.
Isaac.
She has found somebody else to go along with Oscar Isaac.
Yep, with my boo. Dude.
I love Mackenzie Davis, and I've
Yeah.
been a fan of her since The Martian came out.
Dude, I love Mackenzie Davis too. I don't know what I saw her. Oh, it was in What If. I saw her in What If, and I was like, "Yep, I like her." She's
The
cute.
Martian, Blade Runner 2049, like Black Mirror. Every time I see her, I just think she's like phenomenal. at what
She's a star,
doing.
man.
She's great. The girl who played Danny,
I don't know who she is, but I look forward
she's
to
a
seeing her in more
newcomer.
things.
Well, she's a newcomer in America. I'm sure
Yeah.
she's done.
Natalia Reyes.
Yes. I was like,
Natalia
her last name is
Reyes.
Reyes. I couldn't remember her first name.
Yeah.
She was really good. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger
Carl.
in the car. I'm
Carl.
not calling him Carl.
He was dope. The robots are my favorite part of this movie because you have the bad one, the Rev 9.
That
who's
was
just like
freaking
fantastic.
terrifying.
And then you have Carl, who's just like
A bunny.
so funny. To
He's
me.
retired.
Yeah, he's like just this old dude, and I love him.
Yeah.
Also, shout out Tim Miller because he's undefeated as well.
Yeah,
between
He
Deadpool
is.
Really
and
did a great
Terminator.
job. I know this movie
Yeah.
didn't pull in the cash that it should have, but it was
It's
still
fine.
really, really good.
I'm okay with Terminator ending here. We
I'm
don't.
definitely fine with Terminator ending.
Yeah, we don't need
Yeah.
more Terminator movies. I was like, we didn't really need this one, but if
Same.
this is like, but like, if we're gonna end it on a note, let's please end it on this note
yeah,
and not
I like
on Genesis.
this note. Exactly.
I love Emilia Clarke, but dear God,
oh, that movie was wild.
I mean,
And
I
not
still
in the
like
best
watching
way.
that movie, but it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
But she, yeah.
Yep, that was my number 4.
All right, I'm gonna hit you up with a surprise. My number 4 is Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
Wow, it got that high up on the list.
It was number 1 for a long time.
It
And then
was a
guess
long time
you
as
said
in
you're gonna
3
hit us with
days.
surprise, and I
Because
guess
this movie came out
It's
last
not
week.
a surprise to me because I've heard you talk about it, but like, given who you are, yeah, I can see why that would.
It was number 1 for a long time. It was number 1 until 2 days ago.
I'm surprised it went up that high, to be honest. It didn't even make my
Dude,
list.
it was hard, man. It was
Are we
hard.
supposed to be surprised that you have it in
That
the
low.
top? Okay. I was like, I know Demi is the Star Wars fan,
she
but
had it
got it.
like that high.
Okay.
Yeah, it was rough. I had a hard time with this. To the point I was like, man, I'm conflicted. I know what I must do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Now I'm making a Kylo Ren reference instead. I mean, yeah. Am I not getting skipped on this?
No.
Cool.
It's not on my list.
I didn't realize that at all. I thought you might skip me for it. Yeah, no, I liked it. I had fun. Here's the thing. I wish we were doing this podcast after I had seen it a second time, because I feel like I would have a better grasp on my emotions about this movie. Because even though I haven't seen it all the way through since the first time I saw it, I have seen clips of it during play tests and stuff at work. And literally every single clip that I tested, I smiled all the way through it. And I was just like, yes, this is what I'm here for. Like, this is, oh my gosh, I love it. Like, also there's like an experience that comes with going to see a Star Wars movie for me. Being in a theater with a bunch of people who are just as excited as I am about the fact that there's a Star Wars movie on screen is like the best feeling in the world. I think that's why it ended up being so high up on my list. And it was why I didn't want to take it off number 1, because I was like, the experience was still an experience that is unlike any other whenever I go to the movies. And whenever I come out of a Star Wars movie, I feel more inspired to be creative than I ever do coming out of any other movie.
Right.
Because Star Wars was the movie that made me want to be a filmmaker. So I come out of these movies like, oh man, I want to write. Oh man, I want to direct. Like, that's how I feel. And even though this movie is not my favorite Star Wars movie, I was like, I want to write. I want to direct. Like, I was like, that's what I want to do right now. Like, I'm so creatively inspired. I wrote 2 scenes yesterday. Like, sometimes it gets really hard for me to write. I lack motivation sometimes, but I wrote like 2 scenes yesterday, which is a big deal for me.
Nice.
So I was like, this is the aftermath of seeing Star Wars.
Yeah.
And like, it's so hard for me to put it at number 4, man. I was dying. I like was talking to a friend and I was just like, I know that it's not actually my favorite movie of the year, but I want to keep it there.
I mean, why did you move it down?
I moved it down because I had so many issues with the story and where it went, and it just didn't feel like this was the end of the trilogy or the saga that we've been watching for the last 42 years or the last 4 years if we're just talking about this trilogy.
Right.
Yep.
But there are some moments, man, like, gosh, Rey's training sequence, it's just so good. Like, it is so good. Like, Rey's training sequence is like everything I've dreamed of since I first saw Star Wars as a child, of seeing a woman Jedi with like a lightsaber and just being amazing. Just being on her Luke Skywalker shit. Like, this, oh my God, it was just seeing Rey be so competent and so at her highest potential as a Jedi was the greatest thing in the world for me.
Yeah.
Yes, there are story points that they'd make with her that I'm just like, why? God, why? But like, God.
Really? I couldn't think of one.
that's
I like all of her stories.
and that's not the only one that I hate. There are several of them. But like, yeah, I love some of the dynamics in this movie, the character dynamics, like between the main trio. I'm interested in some of the stories that they were trying to tell. I just feel like it fell flat. And I feel like I was just disappointed by a lot of the finales that we were provided this year for things that I've been watching for years. Like, I felt like they all kind of fell flat for me.
Game of Thrones.
And Avengers Endgame, which is why it's at number
really?
9. It's at number 9 on my list. Like,
Really? That one's good.
like,
I just wasn't as invested in that. So
yeah, but I was, as somebody who's, been watching all of these movies since they started. It just fell a little flat. And the same thing with Star Wars. It fell flat for me, which is why it's at number 4. But it's so high up because of the things that come with it.
Yeah.
It's watching Star Wars for me isn't just like watching a movie. It's like kind of a lifestyle. Like, episode 9 was coming out and I watched, it's true. It's it is. I watched literally,
Definitely is.
Oh yeah.
I watched all 8 movies and I scheduled them too. I scheduled how I was going to do this. I watched all of the first 8 movies. No, sorry. 10.
I was gonna say
10
plus
movies. I watched 10 movies before episode 9 came out to make sure that I was ready for episode 9 to come out. I watched 7 and 8 the same day that I watched 9. Like, it was almost a back-to-back-to-back marathon for me.
Wow.
Like, this is a thing.
Yeah.
This is, like, my life. And, yeah, so, like, that's why it's so high. And I know that it's going to be a movie that I rewatch more than anything else on my list. So.
As you guys can probably expect, it was number 1 on Demi's most anticipated list.
It was number 1 on my most anticipated list. So, yeah, it dropped kind of far.
Which is funny because Endgame was number 2 for you.
It was, and I dropped
way
to
worse.
9. But yeah, I was gonna mention that when we finally get to Endgame. But yeah, number 4, Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker. I shall miss my Skywalkers, but rumor has it we might be getting a Rey spinoff. And like,
what?
Bro?
Like a movie?
Like a movie where she's training the next generation of Jedi.
Right.
Yeah, because
And
Daisy Ridley's like, guys, I need work. Someone give me a job.
Well, Daisy Ridley Daisy Ridley just said that she
that-
didn't want to come back for Star Wars, but it sounds like
I
behind
don't-
closed doors they're talking about
on the
possibly
one
doing a
hand,
spinoff.
that could be cool. On the other hand, it seems pretty clear that John Boyega and Oscar Isaac are burning that bridge. So like,
She's
They
the only
are,
one
but-
that hasn't.
yeah, and it's
Daisy's
just
fine.
like,
I mean, Daisy doesn't agree with a lot of the decisions made either. You can
But she's
tell.
not saying
But
it.
she's just like,
And
I
that's
mean,
John is out here really living his best life, and I respect
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But John has work prospects, and so does Oscar.
John
Like,
has also
no one's
produced his
hired.
own films. He's
Yeah.
fine.
That's true.
And,
Daisy's out here,
hasn't
like-
But it's
done
just like, if you bring Ray
hasn't
back,
gotten
I'd
work.
like you to bring, because I feel like I don't want more focus on her because she was already the focus of this trilogy. Finn got very little to do in terms of
I would like
his
to
story
focus
and
on
his
her
character arc.
because I didn't like how they ended her story.
Mm.
So I would like them to continue so that I know that that's not the ending for Rey, especially because she's my all-time favorite
I
character.
also feel like
in
that's
Star
not
Wars.
fair then to give her a spin-off if you're still going to call this the end of the saga. Like this is the end of the Skywalker, all of that.
I mean,
but
it
no,
is.
it's not actually, because we're going to continue with her.
I mean, like
mm.
I said, this is just a
Either pick an
rumor. It
ending
is
or
not a
don't.
legit fact.
Mm.
So I don't know if this is actually true. This is just something that I read in a headline, for that matter.
Huh.
It's just a rumor.
We gonna see.
Top 3?
Top three.
We did it, top 3.
Dallas, number 3.
Okay, my number 3 for this was my number 2 most anticipated
Boom.
for 2019. It was Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Skip.
Ooh, all right.
Well,
Moving on.
alrighty then, dang.
Colin, number 3.
My number 3. Let me pull up my notes. Cool. My number 3 is Klaus, because that movie was adorable.
That's all you.
And
I'm
nobody
Is that
else
the one-
watched it.
Is that the one on Netflix?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
It is so much fun. It's basically like this dude ends up being a postman on this really tiny island where the people hate each other, and also like helps invent Santa, kind of. It's just like, it's a really sweet movie that also is really cool because there's this dude on the island who basically becomes Santa, but it kind of finds its own creative ways to invent the things we know about Santa, like why he has a sleigh pulled by reindeer and like why he goes down a chimney. Like, it comes up with answers for that.
Aww.
And it's really cool. It's also just a really pretty movie. Like, animation can do some really pretty shit, and this movie goes hard. And like, it's just like, it's delightfully heartwarming, you know? One of those movies that like, it might not change the way you see the world, but like, you have a good time. It could have been gayer. That is my only complaint. Because
Okay.
it was going down that road. It
Colin-
was really going
Colin,
hard. And they
most-
were like, no, never mind. He's going to end up with this lady. And it's like,
Colin,
but
most movies could be gayer.
that's true. But most
Like,
movies
if not
don't.
all of them, most of
movies
them.
don't hit it so hard only to pull out at the last second. Like,
Gosh darn it.
That's a choice of words.
yeah,
Was
I
that
have a
purpose?
feeling that it was.
Was that
No.
intentional?
But see, the first half wasn't intentional, and then I realized where I was going, and I couldn't stop myself.
It was too late. He had already gone down
It's
the
like,
path.
what's
Got it,
that?
got it, got it.
He was-
Like you
he was
cut the
already,
brakes
you
of a
know-
car, you know?
Mm.
It's like
Yeah,
you
he was
can't.
already
He was-
balls deep.
He was a.
Okay, you didn't have
Choice
to.
is-
Okay, anyway.
I was gonna say
Gabby's
he was already
terrible.
down the rabbit hole, but Gabby made a better one.
Thank
That's-
you. I made it funny.
You made a.
I made it dirty.
Anyway,
Colin,
do not
continue.
pervert this family-friendly movie.
Just
Oh,
What
yeah,
about the
sorry,
Santa Claus
sorry,
movie?
Sorry.
Also, like, J.K. Simmons is just a delightful
Oh, is he in
human
this?
being. Yeah,
Wasn't
he
it?
voices
Oh my
Santa,
God.
and it's just
He's
like,
such a good
I
voice.
want him to voice everything ever, because he's so nice, and it's so great.
He's
and
great.
this
Also-
movie is really fun, and I feel like nobody saw it because I didn't hear anything about it except for like one post on Tumblr, and I was like, oh yeah, that movie came out. I guess I should watch it,
And then you were like,
and I'm really, really glad I did.
I had never even heard of this movie until you mentioned it just now.
Netflix was like, hey girl, you like Christmas? And I was like, not.
Yo, they must have been promoting that when I was still on my Disney Plus. Like,
I think so. Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not going back to Netflix until The Witcher comes out, so I'll see y'all later.
And apparently, The Witcher dethroned The Mandalorian,
I
which I'm mildly
I'm not
proud
sure
of.
if I believe that.
Okay, see, Netflix, people have been talking about that, and Netflix has been known to fudge their numbers.
But
Oh,
also,
okay.
Especially
never
when it
mind
comes
then.
to their shows.
on
So,
top of that,
Never
The
mind
Witcher
then.
also came out like as The Mandalorian was ending. So I'm not sure if that counts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair.
Number 3, Gabby.
My number 3 is a movie none of you have heard of either. It's called Late Night. And
I
it
have
was
heard of that movie.
adorable,
I didn't
really.
see it.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
the Emma Thompson, Mindy
Everyone has
Kaling
heard of that
movie.
movie.
Everyone has heard. We
Really?
had a
Okay.
post. It was
Just didn't watch
released
it.
in theaters. It like
Okay.
people knew about that
Well,
movie.
you know what? I
None
didn't
of
expect you
have
guys to
ever
know
heard
of
of
it.
trying to be a hipster
Sorry.
with your basic movie that everybody's heard
rude
of.
asshole.
Colin went
I'm
in.
just saying,
But
if
none of
you
you
said
guys
a name
watched
that was
it.
like
Thought
in
you were about to
Spanish or
give
something,
us
I'd be like, okay,
some
yeah.
kind of like indie foreign darling.
Oh,
Like, I thought you were
no.
going to pull out a Klaus or a Little Woods or like...
Right.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
okay,
You're over
fine.
here like, oh,
Okay.
this is a movie that everybody
Oh my
knew
God,
about.
why
Had
is
a big
everybody going
release.
down my throat.
Because it's hysterical.
I'm sorry, what?
Thank you.
Gabby,
We're
please
moving
tell
on.
us about this movie.
All right, let's get out of
Okay,
Gabby's
so
throat.
this
and
movie
move on.
stars Emma Thompson and what did you say?
So let's move out of Gabby's throat and move on.
No, continue, please
Colin, take
continue.
a few steps back. See.
Something down my throat. Okay, so this movie stars Mindy Kaling and Emma Thompson, and it is amazing. Oh my God, I love it so much. Also, it was a character that I related to super hard, but I'm going to talk about that in another video. I just really like this movie because it took a...
Hold on. Point of order.
Yes.
We don't do videos here.
Oh, sorry. We're going to talk about it in another podcast later. What I like about this movie is it took a concept that doesn't exist and made it seem like something that actually, it, like put it in like the real world, made it like feel real, which is like a woman hosting a late night show for more than 20 years. I mean, we don't
gotcha.
have that. And it like, not only did it like give us some old videos of Emma Thompson doing some fake stand-up comedy from like the 80s, it also like, it was just a good movie. It was like feel good. It starred women, and it was about a woman like Mindy Kaling coming out of a career that's completely not comedy and doing a good job in it. And what I like is it showed her struggles in it too. And it didn't show her struggles in like a chin up kind of a way. Like she was definitely crying in the bathroom at more than one point. And I was like, oh, good. It's okay to cry in the bathroom at work.
Yeah.
I love movies.
Come on,
until
we've all done it.
I haven't done
have.
that quite yet.
No,
but,
have I?
Oh, I have a lot.
or at least not out of emotion.
Actually,
It's
I don't know
becoming
if
a
it's
joke at
happened
work
at
how
work.
often
Yeah.
me and my coworker will go in there and cry.
But like, I love movies and TV shows that make it
Gabby,
clear
you
that
good?
it's okay to cry.
Mostly. I'll tell you guys about it later. Anyway, yeah, so I really liked that movie because one, it was, I mean, it wasn't a super original plot, but it gave me something that I hadn't had in a while. And two, I just really liked Mindy Kaling. And she named the main character after her daughter because she was like writing the movie when she was like pregnant with her daughter. So she gave like the Emma Thompson character her daughter's name, which I thought was really
Nice.
cute.
That's sweet.
And that's my number 3.
To me.
Cool. My number 3 is actually a tie. Because I could not figure out which of these movies I liked more than the other, so I just put them together.
Really?
Cheating.
So
Rude. She has a top 11.
Anyway.
I do this every year.
You're
like, I
the one
always
who
have a tie.
establishes rules, and then you're like, oh, we're going to have a top 11.
Anyway,
Nobody
to
said
me-
you couldn't have a tie between movies. That was not a rule.
Oh my
To me,
God,
what are
we're
your number
making a
threes?
rule next year.
My number 3s are Jojo Rabbit and Knives Out.
Skip.
For which one?
Knives
What?
Out.
How's that?
I knew it.
Okay.
I was like,
So
for
just
both?
talk about JoJo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to
talk
talk about
about
JoJo.
JoJo.
I
Oh
love...
wait, time out. I think it's hilarious that these are both your number 3 because anecdote. I was at work. I was selling tickets, and there's this group of people, and they're trying to decide what movie to see. And I heard the phrase, "the murder comedy" or "the Hitler comedy," and I was like, "Yo,
That's it.
what a time
Accurate.
to be alive!"
Accurate.
But they're also both really good movies.
Yep, they are.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit. I fell in love with Jojo Rabbit. I was intrigued by the concept when I first heard it. Okay, I was intrigued but also slightly frightened when I heard the concept because it's about a kid growing up in Nazi Germany towards the end of World War II, and his imaginary friend is Hitler. So why wouldn't you be concerned? But then I found out, like right before I went to go see the movie, that he finds out that his mom is hiding a Jewish girl in their house. And that makes it all the more interesting. That's actually a really good conflict. And it was surprisingly like well balanced in my opinion. Taika Waititi, who directed and wrote it and also plays Hitler, is a Jewish man.
Yes.
So yes, he is
What?
a Polynesian Jew.
I did not know that.
Scarlett Johansson, who plays the mom in the movie, is Jewish. So, you know, it's very interesting to watch this movie and that is being filmed I guess from the perspective of a Jewish director, because it's not punching down.
Right.
And it's really funny, but the things that are funny aren't necessarily offensive.
Okay.
Like you could there were a couple of points where I was just like,
Ooh, he
I
told the line.
was like,
He told the line.
there was literally a gag in the movie where the Gestapo comes to his house to search his house, and there's 5 of them, and the joke is literally all of them keep saying Heil Hitler to him.
They
And
all
there's
individually
5
say
of
it.
them, and they all individually say it to him, and he has to Heil back to them. And then a minute later, another character, Sam Rockwell's character, comes in, and they do the same thing all over again.
Okay.
And I was
And
watching
it's so
it,
matter of fact. It's like saying hello, 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 hello.
but it was just like, I don't know if I should be laughing at this, but this
Right.
is really funny. Like, is
That's
this
the bit that you thought might be offensive?
No, that's not the only bit. There were
was
several
like-
others, but that was the one that comes to mind right now, where I was just
Like,
like,
oh, we're
I
just
don't
hailing all
know.
day
Yeah, I was
long.
like, should I laugh at that? Is that a thing that I can laugh at? Is that funny? That movie, yeah, I love the performances in the movie, especially the kids. The kids are so good. Roman Griffin Davis and Thomasin McKenzie, who is going to be in Edgar Wright's zombie film.
Nice.
Oh,
Is it
a zombie film?
As young, what's his name?
What?
As young, Simon Pegg's friend.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, never mind.
I know that she's in that movie though, and she's like going to be the lead. I'm actually a very big fan of hers after seeing Jojo Rabbit. And
Oh wait, Thomason's the girl.
yeah, she's the girl.
Yeah, not Thomas. Thomas.
Yeah,
Sin.
Thomasin.
I heard something else. Oh, she was in The King on Netflix.
She is, yeah. I almost watched that movie because she's in it. But she has my favorite line in the movie, which is "Break free, great Aryan. There are no weak Jews. I am descended from those who wrestle angels and kill giants. We were chosen by God. You were chosen by a fat man with greasy hair and half a mustache." One of the greatest lines I've heard in film ever. I wanted to cheer in the theater when I heard her say that. But also it's very poignant, and it's got some really, really emotional, sad scenes in it. Oh my gosh. Scarlett Johansson, stop making me cry. I'd appreciate it if you did. But yeah.
She made you cry twice this year.
Twice this year. She didn't get me that third time. She almost did, but she didn't get me.
Interesting.
Yeah. She didn't get me a Marriage Story.
Oh, she got me.
She came close. The first scene where she starts crying, I was like, how dare you just suddenly change your face like that? But that's not what we're talking about right now. But yeah, Jojo Rabbit. If you have not seen Jojo Rabbit, if you were in the least bit afraid of what Jojo Rabbit could be, because it's a comedy with Hitler, I would highly suggest you watch it. I think it's a great film, and I think it handles the subject matter very well, especially because most people probably could not have handled that subject matter at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely stay away from that.
I
But I'm
think
not
there's
Jewish,
only
but-
been two comedies about Nazi Germany that one of them is really hard to consider it a comedy, but that actually worked to me, and one of the other one's Life is Beautiful, and then this one.
A lot of people compare this to the Chaplin film that I cannot think
The Great
of.
Dictator?
Yes, The Great Dictator. They compare it a lot to that film.
That makes sense, actually. What are we on?
Number 2.
Number 2. All right, cool. My number 2 was my number 3 for my most anticipated for 2019. Avengers Endgame.
All right, let's go.
This freaking movie.
It was also number 2 on my most anticipated, but it is number 9 on my favorites list of this year.
Yeah, it slid right down for you. For me, it moved up.
Ooh,
one.
wait.
Sorry, I missed it.
It
Sorry.
sounds to me, and I could be wrong.
Yes, it went off a cliff. Shut up, Colin.
There we go.
And
Just
that's
like your
exact-
hopes and dreams.
And that's exactly why it went off the cliff. Anyway,
That's what I figured. Yeah,
Oh, Endgame. Yes.
that's not the only reason, though.
Scabby.
There are several reasons, but that's not the only reason. There's
Okay, yeah,
there's
we're
some
gonna
great
go-
fan service in this movie.
oh hell yeah. This
Absolutely.
movie is, and that's the thing is that this movie is. I'm not gonna say perfect.
Oh,
Well,
no.
for me, perfect. Not for you, obviously, for obvious reasons. But just a great culmination of
Of what we've seen so
had
far.
so far, because all of the things that they've referenced or teased, and even stuff that's happened in the comic books
Yeah.
that they took and referenced, and hey, we know this might have made you mad when we wrote it, but now it's in the movie and you like it. Like Captain America
We're
saying
gonna-
"Hell Hydra" in
Yeah.
that elevator. I was
Yeah.
like, that's great.
Yeah, there's I remember thinking to myself when I was watching it that it felt like the season finale of a TV or the series finale of a TV show that
of
you've
a
been watching
really, really
for a
long
really long
TV
time.
show.
Because you get to the series finales and they always kind of make that reference back to all the things that we've done over the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They make that reference back to the pilot, but also here are some things that we've done along the way. And I loved going through all the Infinity Stones. I think my favorite scene in this movie is legitimately the scene of Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, and Natasha like sitting around that table, like Tony and Natasha on the table and Bruce is sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
And Natasha goes, yo, in 2014 there's like 3 stones in New York. And like all of them pause and Bruce and Tony are just like, shut up, are you serious? Because I remember at the same time that they reacted, I also went, shut up, are you serious? And like I've been watching all these movies for years and just like having that information, like that's my favorite scene, because I was like, yeah, that's legitimately how I feel right now. Like these realizations that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like
honestly, the only problem I have with this movie is the runtime, because
my issue is with several storylines.
A movie being 3 hours is never gonna sit well with me. But I still saw this more than once.
I saw it more than
3
once,
times, and I
didn't feel the runtime. I didn't feel the
I did.
runtime until I went outside and I was like, oh,
like, oh, it's tomorrow.
it's like a
What happened?
different time.
When did I go inside?
I'm glad that I went early in the day because I had to go to work.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna go Friday morning, so that because I worked Thursday night and was like trying to avoid spoilers like the plague. And like I was like, oh, I'll just go Friday morning, and it's a 3-hour movie, and then I'll have like an hour and a half to get ready for work. And then I didn't anticipate that I was gonna cry for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I was like, great, I'm just gonna cry all the way till I get to. I got in the car and started crying again, and I was like, God damn, just why is this happening?
Oh man.
Yeah, 10 years culminating into this, and like
they did it so like.
Well,
for the most part, yeah, it's done very well.
Yeah, the thing is like personal issues with storylines aside, just everything that they've been doing with these movies, for you to wrap it up in a way that's like,
It feels gratifying.
Yeah, it feels gratifying, and it doesn't feel like they had to go back and just like retcon this to make it make sense, or like, oh wait, no, that didn't actually happen, like let's pretend
they
we
had
didn't have to like
time travel make sense in their own movie. That's it.
And we didn't have to do the thing that a lot of franchises do where they're like, oh well, we don't want to count these 2 movies anymore, so we're just gonna refer like
but I think that that's all a testament to the planning that goes into these movies.
Kevin Feige has done a lot of planning, and I commend him for the work that he does on these movies, because you know that this is basically a TV show. He's the showrunner, and he's keeping all this stuff connected. He knows where this is going, but also he's still kind of allowing his writers to write what they want to write, as long as it goes along with the plan.
As long as we can get to this point.
Yeah.
With it still making sense.
Yeah, because you know.
And it does.
Yeah, like Black Panther is as incredible of a movie as it is, because the writers and the director were allowed to do what they wanted to do, but that movie still follows the plan.
It still fits.
It still fits into the overall scheme of things.
Yeah, and it stands apart far enough that it doesn't need to be completely contingent on it, but it doesn't do anything to like rule it out.
Like the only movies that I think that doesn't happen for are the Captain America ones, especially 2 and 3.
I was gonna say that this plan for these movies, like his plan is clearly detailed enough that he knows where everything is going, but still loose enough that you can throw in curveballs. Like, oh, we have Spider-Man now? Throw that in there.
Yeah.
Let's go. Like, we're throwing in a whole new, not even a whole, like, we're basically throwing in another universe of characters into this entire franchise now.
And it worked.
It was almost a last minute thing. It's like, hey, we're putting him in Civil War. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, he's now part of this universe.
This is the movie, the fan service. Oh my God. Like that last fight.
Listen, the third act, for the longest time.
I freaking knew it with that freaking hammer. I was like, yes!
For the longest time, Avengers Endgame almost got kicked off my list. And then I would think about that third act and all of the great fan service in it. Dude. And I was just like, I can't kick this off my list. This movie gave me some of the greatest joys of movie watching that I've ever had in my life.
That freaking hammer, man.
The hammer, that whole almost the entirety of the third act. Like, it's just
Cap going in with that hammer.
Yep.
Like him fighting back to back with Thor holding Stormbreaker.
Yep.
Fighting Pepper.
Yeah.
Fighting back to back in their suits is something that I never thought we were going to see.
Yep.
And it's the kind of movie that, you get the things you expect, but then you also get things like, oh my God, that's a shot I never thought I'd see. And I'm so happy that we saw it.
Exactly.
This is like, just so much of this movie. I'm just like, God, that's why I couldn't get kicked off my list, because I was just like,
and then when
brilliant.
like they hand over the the mantles that were handed over.
For the most part, this is fan service done really
Correctly,
well.
like Star Wars.
For the most part, there are pieces where I'm just like, ooh, no, but
like
okay.
what?
But even then,
Cap and Peggy. But
see, that's the thing.
Oh,
Even then,
yeah.
that's preference based because
Yeah.
a lot of people like that.
I agree
no,
with
people
you on
like that, but I don't think that was good
I
storytelling.
don't think it was good
I
storytelling
don't think that's
either.
where Cap's storyline was headed.
Yeah,
based
I
off
don't
of
think
his
so either.
movies.
It seemed like he was starting to adjust.
Yeah,
and then
like
he just freaking
based
went
off
back.
of his movies alone,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's not where this was going.
Yeah.
But if that's where you want to take it, fine. I can't.
Especially if
I
the
can't do anything
actor's
about it.
done, fine. But like,
And-
I thought it was a regression.
I disagree with that being bad storytelling because never mind. We don't have time to get into that. We can talk
Yeah.
about that off mic.
Yeah.
But just yeah, it's fan service. Also, fan service for me as the person whose favorite MCU movie is Black Panther. To have the first people who show up
Be
Be
the
Black
Wakandans.
the Wakandans, like
yeah.
yo, hell yeah. they
Also,
know what's
I
up.
like it because it's like, because I know everybody's thinking with like Cap gone and Iron Man dead, like who takes up that leader mantle? And it's like right there. That's who.
Well,
takes
I
it
mean,
up.
that's the thing. Like that's one of my favorite sequences in the final battle is basically the football toss of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Because it's done with nothing but the next guard.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is our next team of Avengers. It's Spider-Man. It's Black Panther. It's Captain Marvel. Like
Yeah.
these are the three that are going to be
The leaders.
our leaders.
They're
And I mean
like
Doctor
our-
Strange
Yeah.
as well. Like this is the next team of Avengers.
And we got to see like everyone use their skills to their potential.
Yeah.
Like we got to see instant kill, which I thought was a one-off joke.
Dude, right? We saw instant
We
kill.
got to see almost everybody to their full potential.
Fair.
Wah, wah.
You'll get it.
Moving on.
Yeah, I finally get a full movie.
Wah,
This girl didn't
wah.
even fight anybody in this movie.
Yeah, that was a bummer. Well,
She
she
fought
like
her own inner demons
she
or
yeeted
something.
herself off of a cliff.
She fought Hawkeye for a bit.
Yeah,
low-key.
for like 2
I don't even count that
seconds.
because she didn't even go all out. It's just like, wow,
Yeah.
really? Your best fight sequences are in Civil War? Great.
Were they? Oh yeah, they were.
They
And
are.
She was like preggers.
Civil War. Nope, that's Age of Ultron.
Oh okay.
Civil War and Iron Man 2. But yeah, like, man, Avengers Endgame. Like, it's still like, it didn't do for me what Infinity War did.
Mm.
Because Infinity War, I was just like, I came to that movie like, bro, what the hell? This one was just like, cool. All right. That was a good, like, for the most part, satisfactory ending
Yeah.
to this story. And I'm cool with that. That's great. I still have my issues with it, obviously.
Yes.
Not only with Black Widow, but with several other characters. But
And
I
I
had
have
fun.
none of those issues, which is why it's my
Me
number 2.
either.
I
Let's
have
move
several.
on.
Colin, number 2.
My number 2 is the Peanut Butter Falcon.
Aw.
Forgot about that.
This
Lovely.
movie, it was at number 1 for a while simply because like I don't have any problems with it. Like, is it, one of my favorite movies ever? No, but
Of
it
this
was
year.
delightful. Like, it's heartwarming. Shia LaBeouf is fantastic.
As he should be.
Zach Gottsagen, I don't know how to say his name, but like the main character is super good, and I want to see him in more things. And like Dakota Johnson, I have not seen her in her most famous role, and I'm so glad that I haven't because
Me
she's
too.
so good in everything else.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like
Every time I
Bad
think
Times
of
and
Bad
this,
Times at the El
like-
Royale is where I became a fan of hers. 'Cause
Yeah, she's great, and I'm really glad that she gets to do other things. Like,
That's not
yeah, it's just like this movie is just it's really
Dakota. I'm so
Nice.
happy for you.
yeah, honestly, like please,
Yeah.
just keep going, you're doing great, sweetie. But like yeah, the Peanut Butter Falcon is just it's fun, it's heartwarming. It ended a little abruptly, but other than that, like yeah, it works and it's adorable and like makes you feel good about the world for 5 seconds until you leave the theater.
Sometimes those are the best type of movies that
Honestly, yeah.
That's kind of like I love movies that make you forget about the world that you're living in. Sometimes the world can be a dark and cruel place. Sometimes
Yeah,
you
but
just
it's
need
like-
a movie that
I like that
you can escape to.
The
and
way
that's-
this did it, because it's one thing to forget the world you're living in if you're watching like a fantasy movie, right? Because then it's like, no, this is literally another world and yada yada. But this is very much, this is set in our world and there is prejudice and hatred and it sucks. But the movie like doesn't focus on that.
I
and
mean,
it
that's why I
overcomes
like-
it. And
that's why I liked Yesterday so much.
yeah,
It was a good 2-hour escape from reality. I've always been a fan of escaping from reality. And that's why I love movies so much.
yeah, valid. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about it. It's just like a super enjoyable movie that I would definitely recommend.
Gabby, number 2.
My number 2 is Frozen 2.
That's all you.
Wow.
Wow.
That was on my.
Not all her.
Oh yeah,
we all
that's
have
right.
thoughts on it, but like
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It was on my honorary mention for a while,
It's so good.
but then I cut my honorary mentions to 5. So
Yeah.
or else it would have been like 10 and we would have been here all day.
Ooh, girl.
I like this one way more than I like the original.
So do I.
The more I think about it, yeah.
This one,
Like, I already liked it more than the original, but the more I think about it, the more I like it.
yeah, it did some world expanding that it didn't sully the original for me. And the songs are really great.
Yeah.
None of them really get stuck in my head, which I appreciate.
Show
I feel
yourself,
like you're
bro.
just wrong about that, but that's you and your head, and that's fine.
Yeah, but
That's
that
you
doesn't
and
mean that
your
I don't
head.
really like
Into the
listening to
Unknown
them.
is a
I just
banger.
Oh yeah, Into the Unknown.
Into the Unknown and Show Yourself, bro. I could listen to those all day.
Yeah, and I
just
like
don't
that there was an
understand how-
80s music video in the middle.
Thank you.
Yo,
This is like
that's
y'all just
the
talking about
that
every
song
movie
except
Lost in the Woods,
I don't
like, yo.
particularly care that much about.
I Lost in
Agreed.
the Woods
Take
made
the song
me.
away from the visuals, and I don't care as much.
That's
Put
true.
it with the
but
scene,
like,
and it's the
remember
best
when
thing
we
I've ever
watched that
seen.
and looked at
Oh,
each other
yeah.
like, "Is this what's happening
That
right
was
now?"
a religious
I
experience.
was like,
Like,
"Oh my god!"
Yeah, no. Like I love the visuals more than I actually love the song. The
And
song,
then-
I'm like, okay, this is
Also,
this is
the
fun.
visuals were clearly for us, the adults watching this, because
Yeah.
the children were like, "I don't get it," and it's like, not for you. Which I appreciated from Disney.
But Into the
um,
Unknown and Show Yourself,
Yeah, those two, like, Show Yourself made me cry, and like while I was watching it in the theater.
yeah, because those are
and it's
just
beautiful.
good songs. But then you put the visuals on top of it, and I'm like,
Yes.
okay, well, this
And-
this movie is pretty.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
Oh
it's
yeah, that
gorgeous.
horse.
Like,
Oh my god, still not over
ooh,
it.
and
Still not
like,
over that
dude,
beautiful horse.
I freak out over the lighting of this movie every single time because the lighting, I'm like, this is animated lighting,
Right,
but
somebody
bro,
put this
these
into a
neon
computer.
lights.
This is code.
I was like, this color, these colors out here, like the way that they glow, like yeah, somebody
These are
just-
ones and zeros
somebody
and letters.
somebody was doing some animated gaffing out here.
Yep,
They was on
mhm.
it.
Well, yeah.
Yep,
Lighting
there was
programs
some
are fun.
talented person.
I can't do it.
It was so
I've
well
done a little
done.
bit of
It
it.
was
It's
a
fun.
great. It was a great and strong sequel. And dude, it made a buttload of money.
Well,
As
yeah.
we
So much
expected.
money.
I'm really happy that I liked this one more because it was about Elsa.
Yeah.
And Elsa
Yeah.
was the character I was more interested in than Anna.
Yeah.
It also just
Omega
felt like she
level mutant.
deserved a movie that focused on her because the last one she was so afraid of herself and afraid of everything that she didn't really get to be a person.
Exactly.
And now she did, and that was
Also,
great.
the continuation of her hair evolution is everything I live for.
I'm more her dress evolution.
That
Dude,
too.
This
The
girl
hair
has some
and the dress.
that
looks.
final dress. Oh
Ooh,
my
absolutely.
god.
I said it in the review. She's the Daenerys Targaryen of animation. Like all
For
of her
real.
looks are
Yes.
stunning.
Absolutely, 100%.
Anyway, that's why it's my number 2. It's amazing for all those reasons, and I didn't really have very many problems with the plot. It was great.
Also, they have people of color now, which is nice.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like amazing. There's like brown people, and
Even
black
like in the
people.
background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is like wow.
All right,
I'm
number.
not gonna say good job because you should always do that, but you know, I like seeing it.
I'm glad you guys saw that critique and changed something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my number 2 was my number 3 on my most anticipated list, and we are gonna keep it rolling with the Disney movies. Aladdin.
Really? Wow.
I saw Aladdin 3 times in theaters, guys.
Wow.
3 times. Aladdin was the way that Lion King is like Dallas's favorite Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always like for me,
See, you say
Sleeping Beauty was my favorite
the
Disney
same
movie.
way, but it's
but
not
Aladdin-
the same way. Do you see his shirt? Have you
half
seen
of
how
his
many Lion King
wardrobe
shirts
is
he
like
has?
Lion King.
Everything.
I
Yeah,
have
no,
given him
he-
more than one, and he wears all of them.
Yeah, I know. He feels about Lion King the way I
Dallas
do
goes
about Star
hard.
Wars. But the thing is, I always liked Aladdin more than I liked Lion King.
Wow.
So when they said they were gonna make a live action Aladdin, I was like, bro, let's get it. like I was like, that's what we're doing. Let's go then. And then it was struggling for a while because it was originally supposed to be a Genie prequel with Will Smith.
Ooh,
Yo.
that would have been better.
Where's that movie? I need that movie.
And then
Yeah,
they decided to
right.
do Aladdin live action, I guess, because all the other live actions were doing pretty well.
Right.
I mean, Beauty and the Beast made $1 billion, so yeah, let's
Oh,
do
boy.
it.
Emma Watson.
And now Aladdin has made $1 billion worldwide. It is Will Smith's first $1 billion movie.
Wow.
Really?
Big
It
Willie.
is his first.
I guess that's not surprising, but it makes me sad.
You mix
Yeah,
Disney with
like,
Will
why
Smith, then
did
I
it
guess
take
you're
so
gonna get
long?
it.
He
But
deserves that. Like,
also, yeah, that movie made me a fan of Mina Masood, who is adorable as Aladdin. But also, I've been a fan of Naomi Scott since like 2011, and I'm so excited to see her in these big roles. To see her as Princess Jasmine, it's awesome. There was one day we have the poster wall in the theater, and it was the one with all the posters on it. So a Charlie's Angels poster was up, and I saw a little girl go, "Look, it's Princess Jasmine," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best!"
Nice.
Like this feeling. This is what I want for Naomi Scott. Go ahead. But I just had so much fun in that movie. I loved the expansion of Jasmine's storyline because Jasmine was always one of my favorite Disney princesses for being such a strong character. And I felt like they only made her a stronger character in this movie by giving her her own ambitions more than just being like, I don't want to marry some guy that you want me to marry. Like, no, she actually has something that she is striving towards and has a goal for. And it makes sense. Like, yeah, why would we make Aladdin the Sultan? Like, he don't know nothing about ruling a city, a country. Let her do it.
He's a street rat.
Yeah, like why would what? And then like the added song "Speechless," I love the rewritten versions of like a lot of the songs that they did, mainly Arabian Nights. Arabian Nights slaps.
Used to be so racist.
Arabian Nights. I went into this movie thinking, I like Aladdin. I love Will Smith.
Yeah.
Let's see what this is gonna be about. And when he starts singing Arabian Nights, I was like, I got to see this movie twice.
I thought he was gonna rap. Like, and then he started singing. I was like, okay. And then like the lyrics of that song, I was like, this bangs, bro. Right. Like this slaps.
I can sing this and it doesn't feel racist. I love it.
And then also Prince Ali.
Yeah.
Me and you talked about that in depth because there's that Prince Ali.
Oh my god. When that bass hits, like the music in this movie, the Will Smith in this movie, it's so impressive that I was sitting there and I was like, I think I want to see this movie in theaters again just because of the music.
Yeah.
Because I listened to the songs all day on Spotify after I saw the movie. But it's just like, it hits different in the theater with those speakers. And I was like, I got to sit in the theater and listen to Prince Ali again. And
then like whenever the movie would like come out and I had to go like clean it, I would always be rapping to his remix of Friend Like Me. And like I would stop whenever people come by, like, have a nice day, enjoy the rest of your day, and they would like laugh because they were watching me rap and they heard me like I knew like almost every lyric to that remix.
Oh yeah,
bro. But also like the movie looks really nice. It's directed by Guy Ritchie, so Guy Ritchie adds a little bit of his Guy Ritchie isms to the film.
Yeah,
and just I just really loved it. I love that it was shot on a set, so this city feels like a city.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like a set. It's like the set is the size of like 2 football fields or something.
Right.
So it feels like a city because you built a city. And just, it did so well. I'm hoping that they decide to do a sequel. They've decided to do a stupid spinoff with the white prince in the movie. So I hope
I heard about
for
that.
Disney Plus. So
oh my god.
Yeah,
what
that's
white
a thing.
prince?
The guy who was trying to get with Princess Jasmine and Raja attacked him.
Night.
Yeah.
Who's a great
Billy
actor.
Magnuson.
Very happy for him. But it's just like, everyone was like, of all the people in Aladdin, you took the one white man and
gave him
decided to give him his own spinoff.
But I mean, it's because he pitched it to them.
I'm judging.
But like, give me my Return of Jafar sequel. Give me my King of Thieves sequel. Like, give me my live action sequels with Mina Massoud, Will Smith, and Naomi Scott. And also Nasim Pedrad, who was a wonderful addition. Her character is a wonderful Dahlia. It's a wonderful addition to this film.
She was dope.
Like, man, it was just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, this is almost a shot-for-shot remake, but they changed enough of it that this is fun.
Yeah.
And that music hits, bro. we're going to talk about that more in another podcast, but that music hits, bro.
We are. Aladdin's definitely going to come back in a couple of episodes coming up soon.
But guys, we've hit our number 1.
We did it.
Number 1. Let's go. Dallas, number 1.
Oh, boy.
I think I know what it is.
So my top 5, for those keeping track at home, my top 5 most anticipated are my top 5 favorites. With number 2 and number 3 switched.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time talking about Disney remakes.
Yes.
And billion-dollar movies.
Yeah.
My number 1 is Lion King. Because
the lion sleeps tonight.
You take a movie that is my favorite thing ever. You add one of my favorite people ever in Donald Glover.
Directed by a great director.
Directed by Jon Favreau. They just took Lion King and said, hey, how come we make sure that Dallas likes this in 2019? They made this movie specifically for me.
They did.
And people are like, oh, it's just the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I love it. Because I love the movie that they made 25 years ago. I'm not going to not love it again. Like,
with more people that I love in it.
Right. And I think part of it is, like you said, I feel about Lion King the way you feel about Star Wars. And the movie came out in 94. So I never really had that experience of going to the theater as a person old enough to understand what's going on and enjoy it. So when I sat down in this movie, which I saw more than once, obviously, I sat down and Disney logo's going. I'm like, okay, cool. And
the sunrise starts.
It's pretty much shot for shot recreation, but that music hits, and I'm like,
Yo, the
oh
music
my
slaps in
God.
this movie too, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? I had on repeat for a while.
Yo,
Also, The Lion Sleeps Tonight didn't need to slap as hard as it did.
it was crazy, right?
Yep,
Like,
right? That was amazing.
It's like Billy Eichner is singing. Like
Yep.
that dude can sing. And
And Hakuna Matata, when he at the end, when they're like, oh, well, great, now he's riffing.
right, like they
yes.
added little things, like they made the same movie, obviously, but then they added little things here and there. Like they referenced Be Our Guest.
Yeah.
Like that was great. And I legitimately applauded, I whooped, I yelled when Simba comes out in Hakuna Matata as Donald
Yeah.
Glover for the first time.
I think I heard you.
Yes, everyone heard
Yep.
me.
Yep.
I
think
was
I whooped with you.
cheering because I'm not gonna not do that.
Yeah.
Like this
It's
is the
great.
movie that's made for me specifically. I couldn't not love it.
He's going to buy it and just have it right next to his animated version.
Yeah, and
Just-
it's like the only problem I have with this movie is that it's not the animated, like it's not the 1994 version.
You're like,
but
can
it
you?
can't be.
He's about to be like, can we just take the animated version and take all the voices from the live action and throw that in there? Thank you.
And-
keep be
Jeremy
prepared.
Irons. Oh, yeah. Be prepared.
Yeah.
Although I didn't mind the Chiwetel version, even though
Here's
it's
the
not a
thing,
song, it is a spoken word.
Odd, but one of the things, like with Chiwetel as a whole,
He's great.
was
by the
that
way.
they didn't try. That was one thing I think they tried to like switch it a bit so he could be more menacing,
yeah.
which I loved because
Less of a dramatic bitch and more of a
exactly like Scar from the '94. You're not gonna do that. You can't
No,
beat that.
no.
Just like you can't beat Genie. Will
Yeah.
Smith came and did his own thing.
Or
Yes.
like you can't beat like Mary Poppins, so they just went a different direction with her.
Yeah, like the hyenas are iconic. You can't beat them. You have to take them and make them
different.
terrifying. Like Florence Kasumba, who was in Black Panther, she plays Shinzi.
She's also in Civil War.
Yes,
Which is
she
why
Like
does
she's in
it.
Black
be
Panther.
move or you will
Move
be
or you will be
moved.
Yeah, and they took her and they made her Shinzi, and I was like, oh, I'm afraid of the hyenas now, which I should have been as a kid because they're hyenas.
Yep.
But
And hyenas eat lion babies, but they were just funny back then. But I was like, yo, this is actually a really
And Eric Andre and Keegan Michael Key.
right. So we can still get the comedy,
Yeah.
but also Shinzi's not playing no games,
Which
No,
apparently
she's
they did
not.
a lot of improv for their scenes.
of course.
Not
Have you seen the
surprised.
behind the scenes thing where it was like they did like a black box theater sort of thing?
Oh, okay.
So all the actors would legitimately like do scenes. Like they would there was a movement and a behavior that they were trying to match for these lions based off of these actors' performances that they were doing in this black box.
Yeah.
I don't know if that applies for like Beyonce and like Donald Glover, but it was certainly a thing that they did with the hyenas at the very least.
That's dope.
So Eric Andre and Keegan Michael Key, they're recording them and doing like, the dots and stuff like that, but they're recording them acting as these characters
Oh, nice.
and like kind of improving as these
Yeah.
characters as well, so that you could understand. And it was also so that they could get a better understanding of the relationship between these characters. So like, the distance between these two people, maybe they put that in the movie. Like there's a distance between these two hyenas because that's how Keegan Michael Key and
Yeah.
Eric Andre
How they
played
played
it.
it.
They were distant. Or maybe they're super up on each other because that's how they played it. So there is a live action aspect to this, guys. It's not.
It's not a live action movie, but they did what they could.
There was some live action recording involved.
Yeah, and it's like obviously from the 90s version, the animation is one of the reasons why that movie's so great. Because of all the colors and everything like that. But if you can't do that, like what they did as far as this is still an animated movie and the way they made it look,
They
like
grounded it
recreating,
more.
yeah.
They could have
They
heightened it.
did a
though.
great job.
They could have heightened it to the point of an animated movie. They just decided not to. It was a
Right.
decision that they
Yeah.
made.
Like they made me think that Jon Favreau's out there in Africa with a camera just like
Yep.
filming the planes. And
This
they
is a
did it so
documentary.
well. Right. I was like, oh, this is National Geographic.
Right.
But they did it so well. And yeah, it was impossible for me to not love
Yo,
this
the
movie.
sequence on "Can You Feel the Night" still gets me, man. Can you feel the love tonight? That just when they're going behind the waterfall, bro. That shot,
And how Beyonce immediately asserts her dominance at the beginning of the song.
as she should, because Nala's amazing.
Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, I love it and I'm never gonna not love it. It's The Lion King.
Colin, number one.
So my number one movie is Promare. Oh my god, this movie slaps. But like,
No
it's-
one's ever.
I love this
heard
movie
of
so
it.
much.
No, I've heard of it because he's brought it up
God,
in
I
a podcast.
love this movie so
before.
much.
Talk to us
It's
about it.
because the thing is, the studio that made it, Trigger, is like I wouldn't even call it a love-hate relationship
They
so
hit or
much as
miss.
yeah, and for me they mostly miss. Kill la Kill is weird. Darling in the Franxx is so horny I couldn't watch more than 3 episodes without having to eject because I just couldn't do it. But like this movie got me. It's just, first of all, it's insanely pretty. which Trigger always is. That's what they do. They make really pretty shit that goes hard as fuck. And
I want
they did
Colin
that.
to describe my movie like that one day.
No, but it's
I just want Colin to describe my movie
me?
as pretty.
I love you, but there is a level that Trigger reaches that no one else is capable of reaching. Like,
I don't have to reach that level. I just want you to say it's pretty.
I mean, yeah, and I'm sure your stuff will be, but like, oh my god, this movie is just, it's so fun to look at, and the soundtrack works so well with it. Like Trigger, they always go hard. One of their movies has characters throwing galaxies at each other because they get to that point. Yeah, that was where I checked out of that one. But like this one, it goes just as hard as their other movies, but tones it down enough that no one's throwing galaxies and I can keep track of it. It's crazy, but it works.
Nobody's out here Thanosing people.
No, and that's what I like. Because if they did that, there's a threshold, right? Things get too crazy and I stop being able to focus and handle it. And this doesn't reach that, which is great. And like, the main characters are fun. The main antagonist, I could watch his intro scene in the movie for the rest of my life and be happy. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And like, the story, I don't want to spoil it, but it does one of my absolute favorite story tropes that I never, ever get to see done because nobody ever does it. It's, I don't want to say it because it is a spoiler for the movie, but like,
Tell me later.
I'll tell you later. But yeah, it's just, it's the story thing that I didn't realize I liked as much as I do until I saw Premiere, and then it was like, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite things. And like, also, man, this movie, you can tell me it's not gay, and that's fine. You can tell me that, and then I will show you a kiss that goes on for like 15 seconds that if you really just needed to like do one quick thing to bring a dude back to life, it didn't need to go for that long. That's all I'm saying. Also, I think there was promotional art of both of the characters in tuxes. So like, they knew what they were doing. They're getting married. It's great. But like, this is a movie that like, as soon as I walked out of it, I wanted to turn around and go see it again. And like, I'm really upset that I didn't get to, and I have to wait another month for the DVD to come out so that I can watch it
You
again.
can do it.
I know, but it's like, because it's the kind of thing where I forget how much I like it because of how much happens. Because in a Trigger show or movie, everything happens so much all the time. It's so fast. There's so much going on. Like, someone makes a huge dragon out of fire for no reason. Like,
What?
yeah, there's a giant drill because of course there is. There's a giant dragon made out of fire. There's so much, and it all just works in a way that Trigger has never worked for me before.
Okay.
And it just like this was kind of a culmination of everything they've done up until this point, and it references their earlier work in ways that is interesting but not. I don't like fan service very much because often it feels like we're just referencing it so that you have a split second of, oh, I know that.
I feel that.
But it feels often hollow. Like Endgame to me felt really hollow. This doesn't, because they do it for a split second and it's like, cool, we're moving on. Or it's like they're using a drill because they use a drill in their other series, but it actually adds to the plot in this one. So it's not just there to laugh at. Like, man, I don't have very coherent thoughts, but I love this movie so much.
I mean, this seemed very coherent.
And I keep listening to that soundtrack because it's so good.
Slaps.
Absolutely. It does. It goes so hard, and it's perfect for the movie because the movie goes just as hard. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. Whether you're into anime or not, like, the plot is really simple. It's very easy to follow, even as crazy as it gets. The actual what's happening, very easy to understand. This is happening. This guy has a plan for it. His plan sucks. How are we going to stop him? Cool. There you go. It's not hard. The only,
good.
like, if I had any complaints, it would be that the villain he's a villain. He's not an antagonist. You don't relate to him. You don't know why he's doing what he's doing necessarily. You don't feel for him at all. You don't need to. You don't want to. It's fine. Movie slaps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gabby, number 1.
My number 1 is no surprise to anyone. It's Knives Out.
Hey, no, let's talk
Yes.
about it, yo.
Yay.
Okay,
we
so
went
I have
to-
an important question.
Yes.
Like, I'm thinking like what are those called? Like a pie chart?
Yes.
So how much of that is Chris Evans?
It is not all
I
of
would
Chris
say
Evans.
I didn't say it all was.
15 to 20% of it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that
because
movie's just
this movie's
great.
really good.
Okay, I just
Like,
feel like the
First
sweater
of all,
would
he's
have.
barely in it. The sweater's great, but like
He's
if-
in like half of
that
it.
He's in a significant portion of
He's-
the movie,
Yeah, but
and he
like
plays a significant role in the movie.
that's true. more there for the murder mystery
Yeah, 'cause it's
and the subversion of the genre and just how good it is. Like I like these kinds of movies, and Chris Evans being in it was a bonus. And Chris Evans in that sweater was definitely a bonus.
Him being an asshole was also a bonus for her.
Yeah. Yes. I like that because it's nice to see him in a different role.
Yeah. We got like halfway through the movie and she was like, if he ends up being a nice guy, I'm just going to be upset.
Yeah. I was going to like the movie significantly less because I was like, that's not what I came here for.
Because we went to an early screening before it came out.
We
You just
did.
can hear about that on our review for this movie.
Yep.
Yeah, this was number 3 on my list, tied with Jojo Rabbit. I loved this movie.
It's really good.
I was anticipating that I was probably going to love this movie because I'm a fan of Rian Johnson and his work.
Me
It's
too.
dope.
Like, not just Star Wars, like Looper and Brick.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
the thing is like, I didn't particularly care for this movie, but I just compare it to The Last Jedi, and they're so different.
Yep.
That's why I like Rian Johnson, because he's able
He's
to
so
adapt
good.
to whatever genre
He's
he's
just
doing.
got a huge range.
But like, he also like, how to say, like Last Jedi, he could have just made, like, The Force Awakens to me isn't really trying to be very deep. It's mostly trying to be fun, and it works 100% on that level. And Last Jedi, there's some meaning in that. He put a lot of work into that. There are themes
Yeah.
in that. It goes a little bit hard on its messaging.
Mm-hmm.
Knives Out, I feel like it still has a message. It doesn't have to go as hard. Knives Out, I feel like he's just wanted to have fun, and it 100% works on that level. Like, he's
Yeah, it's also
just
great.
seems like he knows what he wants to do from the start,
And he does
and
it.
he does it, and
Yeah.
it lands.
Well, I think he said something like he can't write a movie unless he knows how it ends.
Right, and that's a very basic sentiment that a lot of writers share, but there's a difference between how simple that is and like
Like, it
what
sounds,
you want to accomplish.
yeah, but it sounds like he like plans it out. Like, he's
Yeah.
like, I can't do this until it's planned. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta know what's going to happen. But also, like, yeah, he's just so versatile as a director and a writer, because Brick is also a murder mystery, but it is a completely different type of movie than Knives Out is. Knives Out is like an Agatha Christie type of murder, whereas Brick is more of a neo-noir type of thing. And they're two very different things.
Brick is like that middle ground between Fillmore and Law and Order.
But
And
it's
I
so
love it
good.
for that because I love all those things.
It's
and
so
Brick
good.
is like right in the middle.
But yeah, this movie is just so good. The cast is stacked
Yeah.
and amazing.
Yep.
I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, Toni Collette.
Yeah.
The
I personally,
Cast is all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, Lakeith Stanfield is in there.
Yeah.
Ana de Armas, of course.
Daniel Craig.
Oh my God, Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig's role as Benoit
Blanc.
Blanc.
Yes.
Yo, I love it so much.
It's
It's
so good.
ridiculous.
And this movie only like confirmed to me that Ana de Armas is a movie star and that she's
like,
so
the
great.
Best.
She's
Also, I found out that in that movie she did with Keanu Reeves, she did all her lines phonetically. Like, she didn't speak English.
Girl,
Yeah.
Ana,
It's wild.
you out here just being amazing.
Yeah.
I feel this. I love
You
this.
talking about Knock Knock?
I think so.
Yeah.
Was it directed by Eli Roth?
Yes, I think so.
Then yeah, she did
It's
her
a very
lines
Eli Roth
phonetically.
premise. That's wild. I haven't seen that movie, but
I will never see that movie. I saw the trailer. I'm not watching that movie.
This looks like a wild time.
Yeah.
But,
I would watch it just for the Keanu Reeves bit.
Nope. I saw that trailer. I'm not watching that. Yeah, that movie's just amazing, man.
It's
and
so
like,
good.
this has been such a year for original films.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So many really great original films, especially when people are complaining about like there only being franchise and blockbuster movie
Yeah.
sequels
Or,
and stuff like that. Like,
adapted movies.
yeah, like no, there are original films out there, and there's some great original films out there.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
just have to be willing to search for it, because yeah, marketing's not gonna put as much money into marketing these films because they don't have IPs behind them.
Yeah, and that's why Knives Out is on our anticipated list because none of us knew about it before.
Yeah, for
started.
sure. I don't think
I think I did because I followed Chris Evans. I just completely forgot about it when I was compiling my list.
You know, I knew nothing about Knives Out. But to be fair, my honorary list last year also had a lot of original films on it. But like, yeah, Knives Out is just so good.
It's amazing.
It is.
So
It's
good.
amazing, and that's why it's my number one. Woot.
And honestly, like, I think the main reason it made it to my list this year was because of, I think this could be the best thing for all of you when he's driving away. That line.
That was amazing.
It's so funny and it's so well done. I appreciate the fact that Rian Johnson was like,
and like the
when you write when you write like a murder mystery, like he said that the best thing for it is that when you find out who did it, you're like, well, yeah,
that makes
that
sense.
makes sense. Like a
Yeah.
plot twist only works if you've been building to it and it makes sense.
And like when you go back and watch it, it makes sense, which
And
I
that's
liked.
the thing is that I feel like that stands in stark contrast to a lot in recent years, because I think a lot in recent years has kind of gone with, well, the internet exists, people will talk, people will figure it out, therefore we have to be as surprising as possible. And it's
Yeah.
like,
No.
surprise only works if it works. But if your surprise comes out of left field and I have no idea where it came from and it doesn't make sense.
And now your art has suffered from it. Like,
Yeah,
it's less
and a murder
quality.
mystery cannot do that.
Yeah, Knives Out works because and let's
And
be
it's-
honest,
I
Knives
love
Out
how-
tries to tell you what happened. Like it's honest about it. It's like, this is what happened.
Also, what I like about it is like it's simultaneously exactly a murder mystery and a subversion at the same time.
Yeah, like it is duplicitous in its telling of its story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. When you get to the end of the movie, you're like, oh,
Yep.
well, yeah,
That makes
of
sense.
course that happened. That's
Of course it was him
Of course that
or
makes
her.
sense.
And it was hilarious because I found myself honestly not even really caring about the mystery because all the characters are so funny.
I cared about
It's
the character
yeah.
too.
I just want to watch them interact.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care who did it or why.
Yeah.
So you tell me whatever happened,
Or
I'm
like
gonna be
you
cool
kind
with
of
it
already
because the
feel
movie's
like
funny.
you know who did it at the beginning, so it doesn't matter. Like they
Yeah.
tell you what happens, and then you're like, okay, like let's just watch this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I really started to care for Ana de Armas' character, and I
Yeah.
really just wanted to see her go through this murder mystery.
Yeah.
And just
come out unscathed.
yeah, and it's just so good. Also, cinematographer Steve Yedlin, who constantly works with Ryan. I'm just so impressed by their work together because this movie looks nothing like The Last Jedi.
Also, what I like about this is like the simplicity in the costumes. Like there was like they looked comfortable. They looked
They look like they
Like-
live somewhere where it's cold outside all the time.
And like what I like about it though is just, these are normal clothes, but yet like when you look at the people individually, it's like a constructed costume, which I think is
Also,
interesting.
Yeah.
that house, the set design, it is so dramatic.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it.
The freaking knives all pointing to the one person.
Also, shout out to Christopher Plummer for just constantly being amazing,
oh,
even in this
he
old
was
age.
so sweet and great in the 15 seconds he was in this movie.
But also, still kind of a douchebag.
Yeah, he did great. I liked him.
For good reason.
Yeah, he made some choices. I think the only issue I could have with this movie is that when you have a cast that's this stacked,
You want them to do more.
someone's gonna get like, I'm gonna be disappointed by not enough this, not enough that. Like Toni Collette, I definitely want more of.
Even though
I see why we couldn't have her
amazing.
from a narrative standpoint. Like, yeah, she's not the most important character, but her character was hilarious, and I want more of that. I want more Lakeith Stanfield, but we can't get everybody because there's like 30 people in this movie,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're all very famous.
Yeah.
Number one for me was my number. What was it on this list? Number 5 on my most anticipated list last year. My number 1 is Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Hey,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
put it at number. It was at number 2. Because okay, let's be honest here. I had Star Wars as my number 1 all year, even before it came out, because I figured it was going to be my number 1.
Sounds like
and
you.
surprise,
wasn't.
it wasn't. But Spider-Man was my number 2 since it came out.
Okay.
And it was because I had so much anticipation for this movie because I love Tom Holland Spider-Man.
He's great.
I thought Spider-Man: Homecoming was great. I thought his role in Civil War is amazing. Avengers: Infinity War, great.
Yeah.
Like, and then Endgame, he's barely in it, and I was just like, cool. I want more Tom Holland. Luckily for me, he'll be here in 2 months.
Yeah.
And so for me, it mostly came down to this being my number 1 because I went in with high expectations, and I came out very, very happy with the way that this movie came out.
Yeah.
Like, it was great.
It was great. It lived up to all of that.
Yeah, lived up to my hype and my expectations. Tom Holland is incredible once again as Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
He's amazing.
Every movie they constantly have to give Tom Holland something to cry about, and it makes me sad every time.
His face, man.
Just-
So good.
He's just so, he looks like a kicked puppy, and I'm like, no,
Yeah,
baby.
you want to care for
I
this
want to hug
kid.
him. Like, he's going through so much. He's got like post-traumatic stress disorder. Leave him alone. He's got
He is.
anxiety.
he
God,
needs to take a break. Like
he needs a hug is what he needs.
He does.
I love the expanded role for MJ this time around because
Yeah.
that was one of the complaints that you guys had last time was that she was not really in that movie much.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much to get off of her character other than she's kind of a douchebag. But it's great. I love it. And in this movie, she's still kind of a douchebag. But you're rooting for her and Peter.
She's working through it.
Yeah, you're rooting for her and Peter to be together. And you really want that. And Zendaya and Tom have such great chemistry together. It's just so good.
Yeah.
And then all the Mysterio stuff in this movie. Oh
Yo.
my gosh.
Mysterio. Been one of my favorite villains since the cartoon when I was a kid. And they made it work so well.
Including the stupid glass fishbowl looking helmet.
They did it. They made it work. I loved it. And just
And Jake Gyllenhaal was great.
killed that role. He was
Yep.
so good. He was so charismatic in the beginning that I was like, I know you're a bad guy, but I don't want you to be a bad guy
Yeah.
because you're so good at not
Yep.
being a bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah, like you're watching the movie and I'm like, man, I feel bad for anybody who doesn't know that this guy's a villain because like
Right?
Gut punched.
they're killing it right now
They're
with
gonna
this.
get gut punched.
But
Yep.
even then, that gut punch is such a good reveal because it just turns out that entire place that they've been sitting in was fake.
It was very confusing.
Like
Even
that-
as someone who knows the character, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, like that slow reveal was perfect. But literally every time he does like illusion tricks on Peter, oh my god, that illusion,
brain.
bro, that
Yeah.
whole sequence where he's just messing with Peter that
God.
ends with Peter getting hit by a train,
That
Yeah.
hurt me so bad.
bro.
Like those are my favorite parts of the movie. Is Mysterio doing his Mysterio thing.
Yes.
And actually like we were seeing things that I was, oh my god, I was tripping. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like Peter.
Also,
Yeah. It wasn't
Also-
just for him, it was for us.
still a great usage of the MCU being injected into this film.
Yeah.
Like there are references to Tony Stark and even Natasha in that illusion.
Like,
Like
Yeah.
they're fantastic references, and some of them are smaller than others, but like they're there, and
Yeah.
like this was thought out. Like we had a plan. This was what we were gonna do.
Yes.
John Watts is so good at
He's
directing
dope.
these films, and I'm so glad that Disney Sony deal worked out because if we got a third film that didn't continue from this storyline that
Yeah.
we've been having, especially with the ending that we got,
it wouldn't
that
be the
incre-
film that we deserve.
That
that
credit scene.
mid-credit scene
Yo.
is the best end credit scene we've ever gotten in,
Yep.
in Marvel Cinematic Universe
Yep.
history.
It's so weird because
Frickin'
it's so
J.K.
good.
Simmons, man.
It doesn't feel like it should be a mid-credit scene.
It feels like it
that's
should be in
end
the
of
movie.
Yeah.
So, you know, if there's anybody who still is leaving at the end of Marvel movies, like that's one that if they're going to continue that, which now they are because the deal went through, you would be very confused.
That's
if you only
important.
watched to the credits.
Yeah.
And there are
Because-
people who definitely left before
Yeah.
that scene. I've seen people who left before that scene.
And it was like,
just
it was good for so many different reasons. Like it adds to the story and freaking J.K. Simmons.
Yep, J.K. Simmons
coming
is back.
Like,
Yes.
I'm telling you, when we saw that movie, there's part of J.K. Simmons' line that was drowned out by applause. Because as soon as he showed up on
Yep.
screen, everyone
Everybody.
started cheering like, oh
Yep.
my God, he's back.
And it was crazy because we were
Yep.
seeing the word of mouth before the movie came out, and it was like, "Yo, this is the best end credit scene ever," which we've heard about other Marvel movies.
Yeah,
before.
I'm like I
that's
don't know,
not
man. I'm
new.
not buying it. And
It's
then I was
almost
like,
every single time a new Marvel movie comes out, it's like, "Yo, that was the best end credit scene ever." Oh my god,
No, they can't
this
top
one
this
was
one.
legit, like
They cannot top
the
this one.
best end credit scene
was
because it sets you up so much for what this next film could be, and. In my head, I'm considering the end credit scene that we even got from Homecoming. Because Vulture's still around. And
Yeah.
he's dealing with other criminals who seem to... They're like, yo, who's Spider-Man? You know who Spider-Man is. Let us know.
He's like, nah.
I'm like, if the third movie is literally like Peter on the run, he can't talk to anybody. He can't get the Avengers to help him. But on top of not being able to get the Avengers to help him, he has a whole squad of villains after him too.
Right.
Bruh, oh my God.
about to be a
That's a
wild
movie.
movie.
There's
That
some
is a
definite,
ride.
there's some great places they could take it.
And like that's why I was like, this deal needs to go through because I need this trilogy to be complete.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want after you finish this story because you're not gonna leave
Yeah.
me on that cliffhanger like
Right.
that. You gotta finish it.
man.
Yeah.
Third movie can't feel like a standalone. No, we have to continue.
Yeah. Because they've gone some really good places. Also, the freaking spider sense.
Yes, we finally saw it.
Like it.
And we
I
saw
love
it
that it
very,
was like a
like-
Peter Tingle.
Yes. Like the
It had
fact that
been
he closed his
hinted
eyes
at.
and just says, come on, Peter Tingle. Like that entire scene.
It was just so great because it had been hinted at in like it's kind of hinted at in Homecoming a little bit.
And Civil
it's
War.
Hinted,
Yeah.
It's hinted at in Civil War. I think it's hinted at in Avengers Infinity War
They show
because
it in
he's on the
Infinity War.
bus, yeah,
Yeah.
and his arm hairs stick up.
Yeah.
So it's like Spider Sense,
Yeah,
but
he
we're
has
not
it.
quite there
Yeah.
yet. But then this one,
Let's
that
full
sequence
Spider
at the
Sense.
end,
The sequence was amazing. And it's like him at his most competent as Spider-Man.
yeah,
Like he is taking down drones, swinging from place to place. Like he's doing things that we see Spider-Man do when he's been doing it for a while. I was
He's
like, yo,
Spider-Man.
This is perfect.
but I feel like that's like the point of this film was Peter Parker finally coming into his own and becoming Spider-Man,
Yeah.
without the help of anybody else. But also, I do love the scene of him on the on Tony's plane
Of
and
course.
making his own suit using Tony's technology.
beautiful.
That was really
Such
It's a
a
beautiful
beautiful,
movie.
scene.
Also, like John Favreau's character, like Happy just being like, oh, it's like Tony.
I love Led Zeppelin.
Oh, honey. But also,
Love it.
that's something that somebody his age would say.
Yeah.
You remember that old movie, The Empire Strikes Back?
Tom
And
Holland's
I was
amazing.
like, how
Even though
old is
in
this kid?
Spider-Man: Homecoming, he's the biggest
like
Star Wars fan
yeah,
ever.
right.
Yeah, it was weird. But
I mean, I feel like he was just trying to seem like cool.
He's trying to seem cool for Mr. Stark.
Tom
Yeah.
Holland is a gift.
He is a gift. He's like up there with like Will Smith and The Rock as just being one of those enjoyable actors. And
you just love to see it.
yeah, he's just great. Every time I see Tom Holland's name attached to something, I'm like, yay, my boy's
Let's
working.
go. I guess I'm gonna see that.
I haven't seen Spies in Disguise yet, but like, yo.
Yeah, it's great.
Chaos Walking. We're gonna see. If I see
I'm
it.
good. Chaos Walking is Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. I'm definitely seeing that.
But I heard it was unwatchable.
They said the same thing about Justice League.
Okay,
So,
so never mind. They're just
It'll
being
come out
dramatic.
enjoyable.
They're
Just-
gonna be dramatic AF.
People like to be
Okay.
dramatic.
Is
But
that
yeah, that's
everybody's?
it. That's
Yeah.
the end.
Also, I love that we ended with you because Spider-Man is where we started this podcast.
And now it's where we're ending
And
it.
full circle.
It's so fitting.
All right,
Beautiful.
guys. Thank you guys for listening. Join us again tomorrow where we will be talking about our favorite characters of 2019.
Yep.
Yes.
Day 2.
Thank you to me, as always, for doing all of these editing things because I don't know how to do that.
This is long.
Oh, man, this is long. Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Thank you, to the team. I know Colin doesn't like when I do that, but I'm doing it anyway.
Well, this time you just thanked us as a group, as a
group.
unit instead of as individuals.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you guys would like to find us on Twitter, you can find us at y'all_different. You can find us on Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast. Find us on Facebook. Just search for it. And yeah, if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at A King Named Simba because I love Lion King more than anything.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck.
Hi, I'm Gabby, and you can find me on Instagram at Stegosoria.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for listening.
Yes, it's been different.
It's been different. Bye. Damn it, Kayla.